Chapter 3600. Hearing this, Lin Xian's body trembled. He had a bad premonition that he was being watched. He had been so careful and kept a low profile because he didn't want to be watched by an expert. Is not equal to, but he didn't expect that someone would still notice him. Who are you? I don't understand what you mean. I came here with my elders. Lin Xian said coldly. Is that so? Then explain why the 3 undead puppets didn't attack you. Lin Xian's eyes narrowed. Damn it, he had been discovered by the other party. The other sages didn't notice this before, but the other party did. Could it be that the other party had been watching him? Who was this person? Tell me your secret. Don't blame me for making a move. The middle-aged man emitted an extremely dangerous aura. At this moment, the surrounding sages had already followed Di Ling and the others and rushed forward. There weren't many people around. Only the 2 of them were left. The middle-aged man seemed to want to make a move. Lin Xian was thinking about how to act. At this moment, He Shan said, "He's not as simple as he looks. Don't act rashly." Hearing this, Lin Xian was stunned. He did want to make a move because the middle-aged man in front of him was only a level 3 sage. If he attacked with his full strength, he might be able to kill the other party. But He Shan warned him not to make a move. What was going on? Could it be that the other party was hiding his cultivation and strength? If that was the case, it would be troublesome. At this moment, He Shan said, "Let me do it. He's more complicated than you think." He Shan came out. A terrifying demonic aura enveloped Lin Xian. It was as if Lin Xian was possessed. Don't make a move. We're the same kind of people, He Shan said coldly. The beardless middle-aged man was also stunned. There was indeed a problem. He sneered. Let's not talk about me. Aren't you the same? Did you descend? He Shan said coldly. As soon as he finished speaking, the middle-aged man's aura surged and his aura changed. His aura also changed as if he was possessed by an old monster. He said, "You're right. You can actually see that I've descended. It seems like you're not weak either. Which faction do you belong to? Don't worry about which side I'm on. Let's talk about the possibility of us working together," He Shan asked. That middle-aged man laughed coldly. He was like an old monster. Joining hands? There was no rush. Let's observe the situation first. At the very least, he had to figure out what was in this place. After saying that, the terrifying aura on his body disappeared. Then he turned around and flew forward. Soon he left. Black Mountain only returned to the pendant after the other party had left. Lin Xian asked, what was going on? Did he also have an old monster with him? He guessed that the middle-aged man must have an extremely terrifying Saint Remnant soul by his side, just like him. Black Mountain, on the other hand, said that something wasn't right. He didn't have an old monster by his side. Instead, some old monster had used a descending technique and refined him into a clone. The other party's true body might be a holy venerate or even stronger. Thus, that clone was also incomparably terrifying. Because of that, he was able to see that you were extraordinary. So that was the case. Lin Xian took a deep breath. It seemed like the water in this heaven-reaching tower was really deep. First, there were a few minor saints, then there was D. Mausoleum. This kind of peerless genius even had a mysterious coffin in his body. In the end, even the clone of a holy venerate came. Who would be able to get the treasure in the end? Lin Xian felt an immense amount of pressure. His body swayed and he walked forward more carefully. Finally, he caught up with the group in front of him again. At this time, he saw that the scene in front of him had changed. In the sky, there was a huge river surging and roaring. It looked like the Milky Way. The river would occasionally flow into and out of the death mist. There was light on it, but no one knew where it was flowing to. Not only him, but even the little saints in front of him were shocked by this scene. There was actually a river in the heaven-reaching tower. It was really strange. Moreover, they found many corpses in the river. They had all turned into white bones. Moreover, they were all broken bones. No one knew how many tens of thousands of years they had been dead. It seemed like they were not the only ones who had gotten the idea of the heaven-reaching tower. There should be many people who had come here in the past to explore its secrets. However, they had all died here. Their hair stood on end. What had killed them? Was it the death puppets or the death mist? Seeing that many people were retreating in fear, Wuxia sneered. Humph, a bunch of trash. What are you afraid of? The heaven-reaching tower was not in the azure tree star. It was in the death mist. Perhaps it was at that time that people were killed. Now that it was in the azure tree star, it had been cleansed by the strong vitality for many years. Even if it was dangerous, it would not be too dangerous. If you are afraid of death, you can get lost. As soon as these words came out, many people's faces changed. Some of them were so angry that they were gnashing their teeth. Motherfucker, he dared to look down on them. However, no one dared to make a move, because Wuxia himself was very strong. Moreover, he had brought many experts of the Rain Clan. In his hand, he had the decree of the Rain Clan. It was unwise to become enemies with such a person. Seeing that the surrounding people did not dare to make a move, Wuxia sneered with disdain. However, in the next moment his face changed. Courting death. With a roar, he threw out a palm. A terrifying palm of law was thrown behind him. At the same time, he roared crazily. Damn it, who dared to sneak attack me? In truth, Wuxia was mad. Someone dared to sneak attack him. That person was courting death. The others felt their scalps go numb. Who was it? Did that person want to die? With a boom, an earth-shattering sound was heard. A black shadow was thrown back. Everyone looked carefully. They wanted to see who was so daring. In the next moment, they were stunned. They realized that the one who sneak-attacked Wuxia was not a person, but a fish. It was indeed a fish, and it was only 2 meters long. Its entire body was covered in white scales, and there were terrifying runes on them. Its long fangs were exposed. Its eyes were scarlet and emitted a demonic aura. It was this fish that had sneak-attacked Wuxia. Wuxia's face sank. He was actually sneak-attacked by a fish. How shameful. Go to hell. He threw out a palm that contained the terrifying law of water. That strange fish actually shuttled through the law of water and rushed toward Wuxia. What the fuck? What kind of fish was that? It could actually contend against the law of water. The surrounding people were dumbstruck. Wuxia was very strong. His attack was not something a saint of the 4 heavens could withstand. However, the other party could still shuttle through the law of water. That strange fish was too terrifying. Chapter 3601. Courting Death. Wuxia roared. His opponent was actually not afraid of his water law. But did he really think that he only had one law? Wuxia opened his mouth and spat out a cyan light blade. This was the law of wind. The strange fish was sent flying. Its body swayed and rolled in the air. But what made everyone shocked was that the strange fish was not injured at all. Even Wuxia himself was stunned. His law of wind could definitely cut a 4th heavenly layer sage in half. One must know that he was a 5th heavenly layer sage. But now he was actually unable to do anything to a fish. This was too strange, too strange. Behind him, Lin Xian sucked in a mouthful of cold air. What kind of fish was this? How could its physique be so terrifying? Why do I feel that those unparalleled physiques are not comparable to this strange fish? Kid, don't lament here. Quickly leave. Heishan hurriedly transmitted his voice. What's wrong? Lin Xian was startled. Heishan said that there were many of those strange fish in the Milky Way above them. Hearing this, Lin Xian's face instantly turned green. One strange fish was able to contend against Wuxia. If there were thousands of them, wouldn't they be eaten? Now Lin Xian finally knew why there were so many bones in the Milky Way. They were all eaten by the strange fish. Thinking of this, he turned around and ran. Everyone was still shocked by the strength of the strange fish. But suddenly, they saw a figure pass by them. With the eyesight of these sages, they could naturally see that it was a 1st heavenly layer sage. Fuck, whose family's junior is actually running around here. Many people were dissatisfied. Ignorant fool. Isn't it just a strange fish? Does he really think that he can contend against our elder Wuxia? The Rain Clan's people were even more ridiculing. However, Lin Xian did not care about these people. He was running towards the depths of the Milky Way. Everyone was still ridiculing Lin Xian for being a coward. But in the next moment, they were all stunned. Because they saw countless strange fish rushing out from the Milky Way above them. They were densely packed. Fuck, what's going on? Why are there so many fish? Fuck, hurry up and run. At this moment, everyone's face turned green as they frantically ran away. Those who were ridiculing them before were so scared that they pissed their pants. How did that kid know in advance? They did not perceive anything here. How did he know? Damn it. It turned out that they weren't running for their lives because they were afraid of a strange fish, but because they were afraid of this school of fish. Run. At this moment, these sages were no longer calm. They were frantically running away. The Rain Clan's people also wanted to escape, but they were a bit too slow and were attacked by the school of fish. Immediately, several Rain Clan's experts were scattered by the school of fish. The Rain Clan's experts were infuriated. They immediately counterattacked, but there were too many fish. Furthermore, these strange fish truly didn't fear any law attacks. Thus, in an instant, the school of fish surrounded the Rain Clan's experts and began to bite them. Wuxia. Wuxia wanted to be brave and save his clansmen. But in an instant, he was surrounded by hundreds of strange fish. His face turned green. He broke through the void and used the Jade Decree to escape. He no longer cared about his clansmen. Everyone was running. The sages, and even D. Mausoleum began to fly away. At the same time, they were even more shocked. Which family did that first celestial layer kid belong to? He did not even inform them, making them suffer such heavy losses. They were furious. Lin Xian ran the fastest. He was the first to leave, so he was very safe. Only when he left the Milky Way did he breathe a sigh of relief. Fuck, I wonder what happened to that guy behind me? Very soon, he heard miserable cries from afar, which made his scalp tingle. This group of people dared to look down on him after coming in. They really didn't know what was good for them. Now they know the consequences of looking down on him. There was another scene at the end of the Milky Way. When Lin Xian arrived, he was stunned. He found that there was another heaven-reaching tower here. It was just a lot smaller. Although it was smaller, it was very similar to the heaven-reaching tower outside. Even the patterns on it were exactly the same. Could it be that the secret was in this small heaven-reaching tower? Lin Xian's eyes flickered. Buzz. He suddenly turned his head and found that the people behind him had all arrived. Fuck, they were so fast. As expected of a sages. Lin Xian was shocked. He did not even have time to leave before he was targeted by many people. Kid, you dared to trick us. Damn it, why didn't you warn me? Powerful auras appeared, making Lin Xian feel pressured. He quickly activated his great dragon sword spirit to resist the pressure. At the same time, he was thinking about what to do. Wuxia walked up and said in a sharp voice, "Which clan's junior is this? Come out and tell me, or I'll kill him." Fuck. Lin Xian was instantly enraged. The Rain Clan's people were really despicable. He did not know Wuxia, but the other party threatened to kill him. He snorted coldly. Kill me? I'm afraid your Rain Clan doesn't have the guts to do so. Everyone was stunned when they heard his words. Who was this young man? Such a big tone. He did not even put the Rain Clan in his eyes. Who are you? Yubi's face sank. Being threatened by a young man in public made him lose face. You don't deserve to know who I am. But if you want to know by force, you can try to touch a single hair of mine. I can guarantee that you will regret being born in this world. Lin Xian's face was full of arrogance. His hands were clasped behind his back. His expression was even more arrogant than Di Ling. Everyone was puzzled. Could it be that this kid really had a shocking origin? The Rain Clan's people gritted their teeth. Yubi's face was even darker. To be honest, he really wanted to kill this arrogant kid with a slap. But at this time someone exclaimed, "Look, what's that?" They turned around and found that there was an ancient tower in front of them. Wow, why is there an ancient tower here? Damn it, there's an ancient tower inside this ancient tower. What's going on? Could it be that the secret is inside this ancient tower? Even Wuxia temporarily gave up on Lin Xian. He turned around and stared at the ancient tower. His eyes were burning with passion. He knew that this should be the place where the treasure was buried. At this time, the small ancient tower in front of them suddenly emitted light. Something flew out. It looked like a deer's horn, but it also looked like a dragon's horn. It was dark green in color. It bared its fangs and brandished its claws as if it wanted to tear the sky apart. Seeing this thing, many people were puzzled. However, a few minor saints screamed. Chapter 3602. That's the Qilin horn. Oh my god. Could there be a Qilin buried here? Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. An ancient Qilin had died here. Everyone went crazy. The eyes of those minor saints turned red. The experts of the Rain clan laughed out loud, thinking that their opportunity had arrived. Even Diling was extremely excited. Qilin was a legendary divine beast. It was an existence that was on par with dragons. Moreover, in the myriad worlds, the Qilin clan was an emperor clan. Their ancestors had once produced a great emperor. Not only that, the bloodline of the Qilin clan was extremely heaven-defying. The expert of the Qilin clan who was buried here must have reached an unimaginable level. After his death, his body was full of treasures. Just the Qilin horn alone had heaven-defying effects. If they could obtain it and use it as a catalyst, they would be able to concoct countless divine pills and medicines. At that time, not only would they benefit, but their clans and sects would also benefit greatly. Moreover, they were afraid that there was more than just the Qilin horn here. If they could obtain the corpse of an ancient Qilin expert, it would be even more valuable. If they could obtain the bloodline of the Qilin and obtain the inheritance, they would soar to the sky. How could these people not be excited? Looking at those minor saints whose eyes were red, Lin Xian quickly retreated. He knew that these people would go crazy soon. However, he had to admit that these people were all old monsters. Compared to those young geniuses, they were much calmer. Although the Qilin horn was right in front of them, none of them acted rashly. Seeing this, Lin Xian frowned. Then he sneered. Since you guys are not moving, I'll give you guys a hand. Thinking of this, he secretly circulated the Tai Chi art and mobilized the power of the death mist. In the sky, the death mist dropped down and swept towards the Qilin horn. This scene was so sudden that everyone was stunned. But soon, they regained their senses. Damn it, how dare you! With a roar, a minor saint pulled out a blade of law and slashed the death mist apart. His action didn't matter. The other minor saints also took action one after another. In an instant, everyone was fighting with their lives on the line for the Qilin horn. The Qilin horn floated up and down in front of the heaven-reaching tower. Its body emitted mysterious runes that blocked all attacks. At the same time, a low and terrifying roar came from the small ancient building. Boom, boom. The surrounding void continued to shatter. Everyone retreated in fright. At the same time, the death mist above began to spread out. There were even more strange fish and undead puppets that charged out from the Silver River. For a moment, the sky, the earth, and all directions were filled with fatal danger. Kill. Furious roars rang out, and the magical laws of heaven and earth exploded as the little saints began to fight. Lin Xian quickly retreated to the back, silently watching the battle. He was prepared to fish in troubled waters. At this moment, a figure suddenly tore open the void behind him, and a hand reached out. Not good. Lin Xian felt a great sense of danger. Abruptly, he used his movement technique and quickly dodged. He managed to avoid the most fatal attack, but the force of the magical laws still hit him, sending him flying. In the next moment, he coughed out a mouthful of blood, and many cracks appeared on his body. Damn it, such a powerful attack. Who is it? Lin Xian was shocked. He turned his head and found out that the one who attacked him was Wuxia. Damn it, it's a fifth heavenly layer saint. Lin Xian's scalp went numb. No wonder the other party was so strong. He was injured just by raising his hand. Damn old man, how could he be so despicable? Lin Xian gritted his teeth. He didn't expect the other party to attack him despite his high status. His face was gloomy. So what if the other party was strong? He would use the last bit of his sky flame to kill the other party. Hee, how despicable and shameless. Lin Xian sneered. Wuxia narrowed his eyes. Interesting, you're not dead. No wonder you dare to come here. Don't think that you can show off in front of me because of your family background. You're just an ant. You don't have the qualifications to be arrogant in front of me. So you can die now. If you kill me, aren't you afraid that the family behind me will kill you? Not to mention you, even the Rain clan will be exterminated. Lin Xian threatened. Wuxia sneered. Hee, if you die, who will know that I killed you? It's so chaotic now. You might die in the hands of others, or you might die in the hands of demonic beasts. You might even die in the fog of death. But no matter what, you won't die in my hands. So, what right does your family have to attack me? Damn it, he's really an old fox. He's really comprehensive. Lin Xian's face was gloomy. He was ready to attack. However, Yu Bieha was faster. Kid, you'll die in the fog of death. When you turn into a pile of bones, even ghosts won't know that you were here. As soon as he finished speaking, a palm of light slapped out, bringing with it a powerful storm. It grabbed Lin Xian and the space he was in, and threw them into the fog of death. This scene happened very quickly. Furthermore, the surrounding experts were unable to react in time. So no one cared about the life and death of a first heavenly layer ant. Yu Bieha sneered after doing all this. Those who were arrogant in front of him would die without a doubt. There was no difference between him and an ant. In the fog of death, Lin Xian's face was incomparably strange. If Yu Bieha killed him directly, he would be in great danger. If he was thrown into a group of demonic beasts, he would most likely die. However, Yu Bieha threw him into the fog of death. In this way, he wouldn't be in any danger. After absorbing the energy of the fog of death and circulating the Tai Chi art, Lin Xian's injuries were healed. Damn it, this old man. Lin Xian gritted his teeth. He wouldn't let Yu Bieha go. However, he also knew that Yu Bieha was a fifth heavenly layer expert. Moreover, he had a powerful decree in his hand that could contend against a minor saint. It was a very unwise choice for him to confront Yu Bieha directly. Moreover, it was so dangerous outside. If he went out, he would definitely arouse the suspicion of others. At that time, more than one person would have their eyes on him. Perhaps, they would capture him and search his soul. Therefore, he decided to stay in the fog of death and observe the situation. The battle outside was very intense. After Yu Bieha threw Lin Xian into the fog of death, he activated the decree and attacked the small tower. He wanted to snatch the Qilin horn. Buzz. At this moment, a strange fish silently rushed over and directly sent Yu Bieha flying. The remaining hundreds of fish also rushed over to attack. Yu Bieha quickly pulled away and launched a long-range attack, using the law to attack. On the other side, the saints were also engaged in a great battle. Among them, the most dazzling ones were a few minor saints. There was one more person, Di Ling. Chapter 3603. Di Ling was young, and his cultivation base was only at the late fourth heavenly layer. Compared to Yu Bieha, his cultivation base was slightly lower. However, when he attacked, it was indeed very powerful. A blue rune appeared on his body, providing him with a tremendous amount of energy. Everyone had seen this pattern before. It was the pattern on the green coffin. In other words, Di Ling wasn't using his own energy. It was the energy of the green coffin in his body. That was why he could display the strength of a minor saint. Buzz. Yu Bieha let out a long whistle. Seat, do you still want to fight separately? Do you really want to die here? Hearing this, the surrounding saints' faces turned ugly. In such a short time, some of them were seriously injured, and some of them had their saint fates absorbed by the death aura. This made their faces turn ugly. What do you want? A saint roared. Yu Bieha said. It's simple. Let's join hands and destroy everything. Otherwise, we'll all die if we fight separately. Not to mention the treasure. Alright, let's join hands. Di Ling was the same. Although he had the power of the mysterious coffin, he was still in a dangerous situation. There were forces that could threaten him in all directions. Therefore, he wanted to join hands. It would be much more convenient to get the Qilin horn after defeating the strange fish and dispelling the death aura. Seeing that everyone agreed, Yu Bieha's lips curled into a smile. Great. Kid, what are you going to do? They want to join hands. Inside the death aura, Guishan asked. I've already thought of a way. Naturally, I won't let them succeed so easily. Especially that Yu Bieha, I won't let him go. Lin Xian finished speaking, and a cold light burst out from his eyes. He began to circulate the Tai Chi art with all his strength. The Tai Chi art rotated, and the death aura in the surroundings was completely mobilized. Lin Xian also felt that the death aura could be controlled by him at will. He tried and found that it was indeed so. This made him wild with joy. In the next moment, The endless death aura shrouded him, making him unrecognizable. His figure changed, and he rushed out with boundless death aura. Outside, under Yubi's suggestion, the saints began to join hands. Sure enough, their attacking efficiency increased greatly. Very few of them were injured. This made them go wild with joy. If they put in a little more effort, they would probably succeed. But at this moment, the death mist above his head trembled violently, and a figure walked out. How was this possible? Those people were shocked. Even the eyelids of those minor saints were twitching. Was there someone who could enter the mist of death? It was too inconceivable. Even they didn't dare to do it. Could it be that there was an even more terrifying existence here? Thinking of this, they felt as if they were facing a great enemy. Yubi's heart was beating wildly. He had just thrown a brat inside. Could it be that the brat came out alive? This was impossible. How could a person in the first celestial layer come out alive? There must be something else. He looked carefully. At the next moment he saw a black shadow. A human figure was wrapped in an endless aura of death. Like the Grim Reaper, he floated in the air and looked at them coldly. Who was this person? Everyone was frightened by the other party's aura. I'm the guardian of this place, and I don't allow anyone to disturb me. How dare you come in without permission? Now I'll give you a chance to live. Get lost. The person who was wrapped in the black mist was naturally Lin Xian. However, his aura was too terrifying. So much so that no one could recognize him. The guardian of this place. Everyone was shocked. Was there a guardian in the heaven-reaching tower? But how could they be willing to leave just like that? The Qilin horn was right here. If they could get it, they would be able to obtain a great fortune. Moreover, who knew if there were other treasures in the ancient tower? The heavenly treasure was right in front of them. These people wouldn't leave just like that. What guardian? Let's go together and kill him. Yubiha said coldly. The others also echoed his words. These people started to attack. Lin Xian dodged quickly. At the same time, he mobilized the death mist. Like a waterfall of death, it poured down from the sky. It scattered these people. Those people were also constantly dodging the death fog. Among them, Yubiha said loudly, "Don't be afraid. He doesn't dare to face our attack head-on. It means that he's just SOSO. That's right. Diling also shouted coldly. So what if he's a guardian? I'll kill him all the same. No one can block my path. He was incomparably domineering. After hearing his words, the others regained their confidence. They quickly attacked. In an instant, the battle became even more terrifying. Lin Xian sneered. He naturally knew that he couldn't fight so many minor saints at the same time with his strength. He didn't plan to do so. What he wanted to do was to prevent these people from forming an alliance and let them fight on their own. This way he would have the chance to fish in troubled waters. Sure enough, under the interference of the death mist, these people no longer cared about forming an alliance. They began to approach the Qilin horn, wanting to fight for it. Get lost. Yubiha turned into a light blade and sent the surrounding minor saints flying. He shouted coldly, "You still want to fight for this thing? Do you have the life to do so? Didn't you say that you want to form an alliance?" Those people roared crazily. Yubiha sneered. "The strange fish has been chased away. You still want to form an alliance? Are you out of your mind?" After saying that, he stretched out his big hand and grabbed forward. Asterisk boom. Asterisk his hand was split apart. Diling descended from the sky with a green spear in his hand. The chi on it was exactly the same as the ancient bronze coffin. Damn it! How dare you stop me? Yubiha roared. Diling sneered. Why? Are you out of your mind too? Why can't I come? With your Rain clan, you don't have the qualification to fight for this treasure in front of me. Let me see what makes you so arrogant. Yubiha and Diling began to fight. The other minor saints wanted to seize this opportunity to break out. However, they were all restrained by their respective opponents. For a moment, the chaotic battle broke out. No one could break out of the encirclement. It was really a chaotic scene. Lin Xian stood high above, stepping on the death mist, looking at the scene coldly. Great! The alliance that had just been formed was disrupted by him again. His gaze swept past those minor saints, then stared at Yubiha and Diling. At this moment, Wuxia was very strong. The decree was obviously very powerful, much stronger than the one in his hand. It was like a sky full of light rain, attacking unceasingly. Diling was originally weaker than him. At this moment, although he had borrowed the power of the coffin in his body, he was still not his opponent. He was blasted away by the decree, his face pale. Wuxia looked up to the sky and laughed. What peerless genius! You're nothing in front of me. You'll have to train for another 1,000 years if you want to fight with me. Chapter 3604. Wuxia, don't be arrogant. I will show you my trump card. Diling shouted angrily, opening his mouth to spit out the cyan coffin. The moment the coffin came out, it emitted a terrifying aura that shattered the surrounding space. Wuxia felt his blood run cold. Ka. The coffin opened a crack and made an uncomfortable sound. However, nothing came out. In the next moment, Diling controlled the cyan coffin and attacked. It was rare to see someone using a coffin as a weapon. Wuxia had no choice but to fight with all his strength. At this moment, the decree on Yubi's body turned into a rain of light and surrounded him. At the same time, he released a sky full of laws and bombarded the coffin. On Diling's side, a hand came out of the coffin. The hand that looked like a withered corpse broke the sky full of laws and grabbed at Yubi's throat. Not good. Wuxia was scared out of his wits. He quickly blocked the decree in front of him. On the decree, the ancient Tao scripture word bloomed with light and blasted the hand away. At the same time, Wuxia opened up the distance. Damn it, there is something. The others were fighting while looking at the situation. When they saw a hand coming out of the cyan coffin, they felt like they were facing a great enemy. There was indeed a corpse buried in the coffin. Whoosh. At this moment, another light flashed and a middle-aged man with a white face and no beard suddenly came out. He arrived near the Qilin horn and was about to take the thing. Courting death. Diling roared. He slammed his palm forward and the cyan coffin flew forward. Suddenly, the skeletal hand clawed at the middle-aged man with a white face and no beard. This middle-aged man was the one who suspected Lin Xian. He was very strong and it was said that he might be the clone of a saint. It could be said that he was abnormally terrifying. However, the person hidden in the cyan coffin was not simple either. Therefore, when the two collided, the sky fell and the earth cracked. Terrifying energy and laws swept out in all directions. The two collided and there was no chance to snatch more. This is great. Wuxia laughed loudly. This was an opportunity and he quickly rushed over. The mausoleum was also moving quickly. This was also an opportunity for him. Both of them were extremely fast. It was just a matter of who was faster and could snatch the Qilin horn. Yubi, he coldly shouted. The Rain Clan's decree rushed towards the mausoleum and blocked the path. The mausoleum crazily roared, but it couldn't be broken in a short time. Wuxia was about to get the Qilin horn. However, at this time, countless black fog appeared around the Qilin horn and quickly spread out. Death mist. Yubi, he screamed and quickly retreated. Damn it, who is it? Who dares to stop me? He screamed wildly. In the next moment, he saw the figure that was shrouded in black mist like the Grim Reaper appear in front of him again. He blocked his way. Damn it, you dare to stop me? Wuxia roared madly. How could he not be angry when such an excellent opportunity was destroyed by the other party? This person was naturally Lin Xian. He sneered. Why wouldn't he dare? Damn it, do you really think I'm afraid of you? Wuxia called back the decree and crazily attacked. The surrounding death mist was extremely terrifying. Even if the other party had the decree, he couldn't break it in a short time. At this time, the mausoleum was no longer blocked. He rushed to the Qilin horn and quickly attacked the seal on it. He wanted to snatch the Qilin horn completely. This scene caused countless people to become nervous. Wuxia screamed. Why didn't you stop him? He was really crazy. In his opinion, shouldn't the guardian in front of him kill Diling at this time? Why did you stop him? Lin Xian said indifferently. Why did I stop him? I stopped you because I don't like you. Why, I can't stop you. Hearing this, Wuxia was so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. What kind of reason was this? Could it be that he stopped him just because he didn't like him and didn't care about others? Wasn't the other party a guardian? Why did he have to go against him? Then he realized that he was wrong. Not only did the other party go against him, he also went against the Rain clan. Apart from stopping him, the other party also controlled the death mist to attack the surrounding experts of the Rain clan. Soon, 2 of the Rain clan's experts had withered arms and another person's head turned white. Obviously, they were all deprived of their vitality. Damn it! Wuxia screamed crazily. He couldn't understand when he had provoked the other party. Lin Xian sneered and didn't reply. Just based on the fact that the other party wanted to kill him, he wouldn't let him have a good time. On the other side, Di Ling was overjoyed. This was great. This Wuxia was so unlucky to be targeted by the Guardian. Now was his chance. The long spear in his hand finally cracked the seal. Then he reached out his hand to grab the Qilin horn. Not good. At this moment, everyone's heart was in their throat. Their faces were ferocious. Especially Wuxia. Was the Qilin horn going to be taken by Di Ling? Buzz. However, at this moment, Di Ling's hand stopped. Because above the Qilin horn, there was a black mist that formed a barrier. It completely enveloped the Qilin horn. That black mist was the death mist. The strong death qi made him feel a fatal threat. His body stiffened. He turned his head and stared at the Guardian. You dare to stop me? Just a little bit more. Just a second more and he would have gotten it. However, that 1 second was like the distance between heaven and earth. He couldn't get it at all. He couldn't accept such a huge gap. Lin Xian snorted. Do you really think that he'll let you get the Qilin horn if I'm only targeting the Rain clan? You're too naive. The scene at this moment was very strange. Those experts and minor saints were all restrained. The 2 people who had the highest chance of getting the Qilin horn, Wuxia and Di Ling, were blocked by the same person. It was really hard to believe. Damn it! Damn it! Di Ling retreated and roared crazily. He summoned the green coffin to his side again. Wuxia, who was beside him, also roared. Damn it! Let's join hands and get rid of him. Otherwise no one will get it. Indeed, they found out that this guardian was very strange. He seemed to be able to control the death mist, which was a fatal threat to them. Countless eyes fell on Lin Xian, making Lin Xian feel pressured. However, he sneered and didn't care. If he was in another place, he would have died if he was targeted by so many minor saints. But here he was not afraid at all. Even if he couldn't defeat these people, he could just hide in the death mist. Who would dare to catch him? Chapter 3605. Suddenly, the Qilin horn let out a roar, and a Qilin phantom appeared on it. Then, it tore through the void and fled outside. What was going on? Everyone was stunned. Even Lin Xian was stunned. He did not expect the Qilin horn to run away on its own. Chase after it. The others were overjoyed. As long as they left the ancient tower and went to the outside world, their strength would not be restricted. They would not have to worry about the threat of the death mist. They tore through the void and chased after the Qilin horn. At this moment, the numerous powerful beings who had been present had all disappeared without a trace. Only Lin Xian was still here. It had left. Lin Xian frowned. This was indeed beyond his expectations. However, he turned his gaze to the small ancient tower in front of him. Although the Qilin horn had flown away, the ancient tower was still there. He wondered what secrets were hidden inside. At that moment, his body trembled because he heard that voice again. Yin and Yang reappear. I want to fight immortals. It was that voice again. Lin Xian was too shocked. In the next moment he saw the ancient tower suddenly shake. Then a force enveloped him. He felt the world spinning as he was sucked into the small ancient tower. After entering, Lin Xian found that the interior was very simple. There was only an empty hall, but there was a skeleton inside. The skeleton was very hideous. It was the skeleton of a Qilin. Lin Xian was shocked. It was definitely the skeleton of a Qilin, but it was missing a horn. It should be the one that broke through the void. Crack, crack, crack. Suddenly, the Qilin skeleton made cracking sounds. Lin Xian took 2 steps back as if he was facing a great enemy. It was still alive. It was actually still alive. This was too unbelievable. How many years had it been since the ancient era? It was still alive? I can feel the aura of Yin and Yang. The Qilin skeleton turned its head and stared at Lin Xian. In the next moment, it let out a deafening voice. You are also abandoned by immortals. Abandoned by immortals? What did that mean? Lin Xian was stunned. He didn't get an explanation. The Qilin corpse suddenly opened its mouth and spat out a crimson ball of light. Qilin blood essence. Lin Xian was stupefied. Such a mass of blood essence. How much energy did it contain? I'm giving it to you now. That loud voice sounded again. Lin Xian was stunned. Give it to him? She wanted to give it to him? Why was he not a member of the Qilin clan? Why would the other party give him such a huge treasure? Could it be because he controlled the power of both yin and yang? Or could it be that he was the person with the mortal energy that the other party spoke of? He didn't know about any of this. The next moment he was enveloped by a huge amount of blood essence, and he felt extreme pain all over his body. It was as if he had been burned by a raging flame. This feeling was too shocking. He had a divine body, so what kind of flame could hurt him? Unless it was something as terrifying as the starry sky flame. After an unknown amount of time, Lin Xian finally felt the blood around him disappear. The clothes on his body were all burned to ashes. He stood there, incomparably shocked. This power. He felt that his body seemed to have undergone some changes. His physique was even stronger than before. With a wave of his hand, a simple and unadorned mirror appeared. Lin Xian looked at it and gasped. At this moment there was a black Qilin tattoo on his body. It was as if a black Qilin was lying on his body. It was unbelievable. This physique was definitely not inferior to that of a fourth heaven sage. Lin Xian was really shocked. Moreover, this happened in the blink of an eye. He guessed that this black Qilin totem was definitely not that simple. As he continued to cultivate in the future, it would become stronger. Thank you, Senior. Lin Xian looked at the huge Qilin corpse and bowed respectfully. You don't have to thank me. You are my successor. From now on, you have inherited my will. One day, you will walk the same path as me. The soul of the ancient elite of the Qilin clan gradually dissipated. Then he used the last of his strength to send Lin Xian out of the small ancient building. Buzz. Lin Xian appeared outside again. The small ancient building disappeared into the fog of death. With a thought, a set of clothes appeared in Lin Xian's mind and he draped it over his body. Everything felt like a dream. He had actually obtained the Qilin clan's totem tattoo. He had inherited the other party's will and stepped on the other party's path. What was going on? Lin Xian did not understand, but he had a feeling. His future path would be even more difficult. There was actually someone here. Where was the ancient building? Why did it disappear? Suddenly, two voices could be heard. Lin Xian looked up and saw that two sages had returned. The two sages were shocked. Who are you? It was that kid at the first heaven. They were too surprised. At this moment, Lin Xian's body was no longer covered by the fog of death. Therefore they naturally recognized him. How is this possible? Weren't you killed by Yubiaha? Damn brat. What the hell is going on? Why are you still alive? Tell me your secret. Also, where is the small ancient building? Was it taken away by you? The two of them had killing intent in their eyes. One of them was a fourth heaven saint, while the other was an early stage fifth heaven saint. Their auras were very powerful. Under normal circumstances, a first heaven saint would be an ant in front of them. However, Lin Xian sneered coldly. He didn't know what was good for him. He did not say anything else. He directly mobilized the surrounding fog of death and quickly attacked. Ants, how dare you attack us? The two of them sneered, their eyes filled with disdain. Even if they stood there and let the other party attack, the other party would not be able to break free from their defense. But soon they screamed. They tore the void apart and wanted to escape. That was because they realized that the surrounding fog of death had sunk down like black clouds. The power of death made their hair stand on end. Damn it, could it be that you can mobilize the power of the fog of death? You're the guardian from before. The two of them instantly had such a thought. Since they had guessed it, they could not let the two of them live. Lin Xian activated the Tai Chi Sutra with all his might. The surrounding fog of death was completely mobilized by him. It formed a cage of death that enveloped the two of them. Break out of the encirclement. The two sages roared crazily and attacked crazily. One of the fifth heaven saints even charged toward Lin Xian. If they captured that kid, all the dangers would be resolved. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Terrifying palms blotted out the sky and covered the earth as they grabbed toward Lin Xian. However, they were entangled by the fog of death that filled the sky. Let me do it. The fourth heaven sage seized the opportunity and rushed over, landing a punch on Lin Xian's body. Chapter 3606. What are you doing? Don't kill him. The fifth heaven saint roared as he resisted. The fourth heaven saint said, Don't worry, I'm just going to break his body and capture his soul. At that time, he will definitely be our slave. He revealed a ferocious smile, but soon they were stunned, because they saw Lin Xian flying back. How was that possible? His eyes almost popped out. That was his punch. The opponent would definitely be torn into pieces. However, the opponent didn't die. He only spat out a mouthful of blood. It was really unbelievable. Lin Xian's face was gloomy, but he was extremely excited. Great! His physique was able to withstand the attack of a level 4 celestial layer sage. It was really incredible. His divine body bloomed like a golden god of war. Moreover, there was a black Qilin tattoo on his golden body. A Qilin tattoo. Are you from the Qilin clan? The two experts' scalps went numb. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He formed a seal with his palms, and the death mist was activated to the extreme. The two experts screamed crazily. They couldn't care less anymore and wanted to break out. But in the end, all their vitality was taken away by the death mist. The two corpses fell down, and their souls were completely destroyed. Lin Xian took the storage rings from them. Then he threw the two corpses into the death mist. The next moment, his figure flashed and rushed out. Not long after, Lin Xian left the heaven-reaching tower and came out. He found that there was a fierce battle outside. Countless experts and little saints were fighting each other. The decree of the Yubieha and Jiangyu clan was activated to the extreme. The ancient characters of the Taoist scripture emitted light, and a torrential rain swept through the 9 heavens. This was the reign of law. It was extremely terrifying. Under the support of the decree, it could even threaten a minor saint. The other person was Di Ling. He had completely opened the coffin, and a mummified figure walked out. It was very terrifying. There was a pair of dark purple wings on the back of the mummified corpse. It was unusually ferocious, and the world was trembling because of it. The other person was a middle-aged man with a pale face and no beard. His aura had completely changed. He was like the divine king who ruled the world. Every time he raised his hand, a terrifying aura filled the air. These people were all fighting over the Qilin horn. As for the Qilin horn, it was hovering between them. There was an image of a Qilin on it, as well as a roaring sound. After Lin Xian came out, he hid in the void and silently watched the battle. Are they still fighting over it? He had no intention of making a move. This was because he already knew that this Qilin horn was a bait thrown out by the ancient Qilin powerhouse. His purpose was to lure these people away so that he could meet with him and teach him the Qilin totem tattoo. Although the Qilin horn was also precious, compared to his Qilin totem, it appeared not worth mentioning. The battle up ahead was getting more and more terrifying. The roars of the Qilin could be heard from time to time. At this moment, a voice rang out between heaven and earth. It was indeed the voice of the Qilin. It was a Qilin horn. The voice was filled with excitement. 19 Junior brother, your luck is really good. You've just come out and you've already encountered a treasure like the Qilin horn. This time it was a woman's voice. It was abnormally sweet, causing one's heart to sway. Senior sister, help me get this Qilin horn. It's very useful to me. Alright, I really don't know what to do with you. The conversation between the two resounded between heaven and earth. Everyone was puzzled. Who is it? The faces of the minor saints changed. Who dares to covet the Qilin horn? At this moment, a small purple cauldron suddenly appeared and covered the Qilin horn. Countless Tao runes appeared on the surface of the cauldron, forming a seal. It's mine. The woman's voice rang out, causing the faces of the surrounding people to change drastically. What the hell? Who is this person? She sealed the Qilin horn so easily. Cold sweat broke out on their backs. One should know that so many experts had been fighting for such a long time. But none of them had managed to get it. Instead, a woman appeared out of nowhere and got it. Damn it! Di Ling roared. The mummy in front of him grabbed the void with both of its hands, and the space within 100,000 miles was shattered instantly. On the other side, the middle-aged man and Wuxia had also made their moves, destroying a part of heaven and earth. Who's there? Come out, you sneaky bastard. How dare you snatch the thing that I want? Di Ling roared towards the sky. Wuxia and the middle-aged man with a pale face wore a cold expression. Which one of them wasn't an indomitable expert? How could they endure being attacked by someone? Finally, two figures emerged from the shattered void. Everyone's gaze was fixed on them. Even Lin Xian had a look of surprise on his face. He hadn't expected such a turn of events. The two figures were a man and a woman. They wore white robes embroidered with auspicious clouds with golden threads. The man was handsome, and the woman was beautiful. Her temperament was excellent, like a fairy. The two of them were knocked out of the void, but they were not injured. There was a red ribbon circling around them, forming a light screen. The two of them were still wearing smiles under the gaze of countless saints. It was as if they did not put the surrounding experts in their eyes. You two don't know what's good for you. How dare you snatch the thing that I want? Di Ling was the first to speak. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent. What's wrong with the thing that you want? The young man also looked over, not backing down. The beautiful woman's eyes moved as she looked at Di Ling. Then, she looked at the green coffin and the withered zombie. Suddenly, she revealed a trace of surprise. You should be Di Ling, right? I did not expect you to obtain a demonic corpse. No wonder you are so arrogant. Since you know who I am, you still dare to snatch my thing. I can only say that you are very bold. Di Ling snorted. He did not expect his secret to be seen through by the other party. The mysterious woman smiled and did not pay attention to him. She turned her head and looked. The decree of the Rain Clan. You are a member of the Rain Clan. Wuxia also gasped. Who is this person? She knows their identity like the back of her hand. It seems that the world guessed correctly. Then who is this person? The man beside her asked. The beautiful woman turned her head and stared at the middle-aged man with a pale face. I don't know which senior's clone you are. You actually came to snatch the Qilin horn. Why don't you give it to us? Everyone was in an uproar. This powerful middle-aged man was actually just a clone. Wuxia and Di Ling were also stunned. The middle-aged man's pupils shrunk. He did not expect the other party to see through his identity. Who are you? He asked coldly. We are from Wuxia City. The two of them said proudly. Upon hearing this, everyone was stunned. Even the minor saints sucked in a breath of cold air. It turned out that they were from the saint realm. No wonder they were so arrogant and did not put them in their eyes. Chapter 3607. In the void, Lin Xian was also surprised. The people of Peerless City. The people of Peerless City were really strong. The two of them were not afraid of facing so many minor saints and experts. Furthermore, the purple cauldron and the red rainbow were both extremely mysterious. They were both extremely terrifying weapons. Is this the strength of Peerless City? So they are from Peerless City. The middle-aged man's eyes flickered. No wonder they could see through his identity. The man from Peerless City said, Since you know our identity, why don't you give us the Qilin horn? Everyone's expression changed as soon as they heard his words. To be honest, they were not willing to give up the Qilin horn. Those who were weaker began to retreat. They did not dare to fight with a disciple of the Saint Realm. But for someone like Di Ling, he was indeed unconvinced. Yubi's face was gloomy. The other minor saints were also dissatisfied. So what if they were from Peerless Saint Realm? They wanted to snatch the treasure from their hands with just their identity. Wasn't that too arrogant? No matter what, they were still experts who dominated a region. If this was spread out, how would they be able to maintain their foothold in the future? If you want the Qilin horn, you have to get through me first. Di Ling stood out. Wuxia did not retreat either. The middle-aged man stood in the void with his hands behind his back. He did not have the intention to attack, but he did not retreat either. The other three minor saints also stood in one direction, eyeing covetously. Although you are from Peerless City, so what? This is not Peerless City's territory. That's right. Do you think the two of you can fight against so many of us? Seeing that these experts were not willing to retreat, the crowd was in an uproar. The beautiful woman smiled sweetly. I definitely can't fight against so many of you. Although I can't, my senior brother can. Then she said softly, Senior brother, you should do it. These people are not giving face to Peerless City at all. Is there someone else? The scene shocked everyone. The little saints also frowned and looked around. At this moment, a figure appeared in the sky. That person was also a man. He wore a white robe, and his appearance was not overly handsome. However, he was unforgettable. When he saw this person, Lin Xian was stunned. It's him. He was incomparably surprised. He didn't expect to meet Yi Shiwen here. However, could Yi Shiwen really contend against so many minor saints? Lin Xian was very worried. You want to fight us with just the three of you? Those little saints sneered. The corner of Di Ling's mouth was also filled with disdain. You're wrong. Not the three of us, but me. That man walked out. His gaze was disdainful and carried with it an unparalleled sense of dominance. Anyone who was not convinced could make a move. What an arrogant attitude. Did he want to fight against 6 masters by himself? I want to see what a young junior like you can be so arrogant about. An old man walked out. He was a true little saint. His strength was very strong, and he was very experienced. Kid, as long as you can block one of my punches, I will acknowledge your strength. The old man punched out with his fist. Suddenly, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The surrounding void shook. Endless Dharma soared into the sky. From afar, it looked like a meteor shower was falling from the sky. This was just the beginning. The Dharma wrapped around a fist and directly blasted over. Wherever it passed, everything was turned into ashes. This punch seemed to be able to destroy a world. Everyone felt their scalp tingle, and their hair stand on end when they felt this power. This was the attack of a little saint. It was so terrifying that not many people present could block it. Would this newcomer be able to withstand it? Even Lin Xian's heart was in his throat. However, the man was not afraid at all. He said coldly, If you can block one of my punches, I will admit defeat. With a wave of his hand, a leaf appeared in his hand. It was a red leaf that was unusually beautiful. There was a sword drawn on the leaf. It was so sharp that it looked like it was going to pierce the sky. Asterisk buzz. Asterisk the red leaf fluttered and streaked forward with light. Wherever it passed, the sky was silently split into 2 halves. Wasn't this guy too arrogant? Facing the attack of a little saint, he only threw out a leaf. Who did he think he was? Many people sneered. Asterisk boom. Asterisk the sound of the sky collapsing and the earth cracking was heard. The disdainful expression on everyone's face disappeared, and was replaced by a touch of horror. Because the fist of the little saint was shattering at an incredible speed. The Dharma that filled the sky was split by the red leaf. Asterisk buzz. Asterisk one of the little saint's arms was chopped off in an instant. It was too fast. In the blink of an eye, the red leaf had arrived. Blood splattered and a scream was heard. One of the little saint's arms fell to the ground. The little saint was trembling. His face was full of horror. How was this possible? The others were also dumbfounded. They could not believe that the man had injured a little saint with a leaf. It was too unbelievable. That was a little saint, one of the top experts in this place. But now he was injured by someone so easily. Yubi's face changed drastically. Di Ling's pupils also shrank. The middle-aged man with a pale face seemed to have thought of something and showed a look of surprise. The other little saints screamed. A red leaf? You are Fu Hongya from Wushuang City. What? He is Fu Hongya. Yubieha screamed in fear. Di Ling's scalp went numb. The others did not know, but they knew how terrifying Fu Hongya was. That's right. The man was Fu Hongya. Lin Xian had seen him before. So now Lin Xian was also dumbfounded. When he saw Fu Hongya on Venus, he was only a 4th heavenly layer saint. That was why he was worried that Fu Hongya would not be able to fight against so many little saints. But now he saw that it was not the case. Fu Hongya was too strong. He was ridiculously strong. Moreover, He found that his cultivation base had become hazy. He could not see through it at all. What was going on? Could it be that he was hiding his cultivation base? At this moment, He Shan transmitted his voice to him. He probably did not go to the first astral realm with his real body, but only sent a clone. What clone? Lin Xian was stunned. How could a clone have the cultivation base of a fourth heavenly layer saint? Wasn't that unbelievable? Then, it should be his real body now. What cultivation base had he reached? Was he a fifth heavenly layer saint or a real little saint? He did not know, but with his strength he could definitely kill a little saint easily. Do you still want to fight? Fu Hongya stood in the air and asked indifferently. The man and woman behind him smiled. I admit defeat. The injured little saint gritted his teeth and said. He was extremely angry and wanted to fight with his life on the line. But when he knew the identity of his opponent, he gave up the thought. If he fought with his life on the line, he would probably die a horrible death. Chapter 3608. Let's give up. The other two minor saints shook their heads and retreated. Fu Hongya nodded and looked at Di Ling, Yu Bieha, and the middle-aged man. Do you three still want to fight? Hee, so it's Fu Hongya from Wuxia City. Since that's the case, I'll give you some face. The middle-aged man laughed heartily before turning into a streak of light and leaving. Oh, the old monster's clone finally left. The beautiful lady behind him heaved a sigh of relief. Fu Hongya didn't care at all. He stared at Di Ling and Yu Bieha. What about you two? Do you want to fight with me or give me the Qilin horn? Countless gazes fell on Di Ling and Yu Bieha, making them feel even more pressured. To be honest, they were shocked and frightened. At the same time, they were angry and unwilling. What made them frightened was that they were facing the legendary Fu Hongya. They didn't dare to fight with him at all. Didn't they see that the other minor saints had retreated? However, they were arrogant people. One of them was an expert from the Rain clan who held great power. No one dared to provoke him. The other was a young genius. Who dared to go against him? Now that these two arrogant people had to lower their heads, it was worse than killing them. Looks like you two aren't willing to lower your heads. Then let's fight. Fu Hongya said indifferently. He took out a red leaf. Suddenly, Yu Bieha and Di Ling trembled. They felt a chill down their spines. Fight with him? To be honest, they didn't want to. Young Master Fu misunderstood us. How could we snatch young master's things? Yu Bieha laughed. He was also an old fox, although he was unwilling to accept it. Although he was unwilling to lose, it was his first principle. It seemed like Fu Hongya had to lower his head. The crowd exclaimed. Only Di Ling was left. Di Ling didn't say anything, but he still took 2 steps back. This showed his attitude. Seeing this, Fu Hongya kept the leaf and waved his hand, grabbing the purple cauldron. He formed a few seals and threw it to the man. 19th junior brother, this is for you. Thank you, senior brother. The man was very happy. The 3 of them turned into streams of light, broke through the void, and quickly disappeared. Only when they were completely gone did the surrounding people breathe a sigh of relief. Di Ling was the first to react. Damn it. He turned into a beam of light and quickly returned to the ancient tower. Even though the Qilin horn was gone, there was still a small ancient pavilion. If he went in, he might be able to obtain even more treasures. After him, Yu Bieha also moved quickly. The pale-faced, beardless middle-aged man and the other little saints also pierced through the void and entered the ancient tower. The others followed suit. There was no way they would miss out on the treasures that followed. Lin Xian smiled and shook his head when he saw this scene. He was afraid that these people were destined to be disappointed, because the greatest treasure in the ancient tower had already been obtained by him. At the same time, what surprised him was that Fu Hongya was really too strong. She was able to suppress so many experts by herself that they didn't dare to raise their heads. Wuxia City. His eyes shone brightly. It seemed that he had to join such a sacred city. Lin Xian shifted his body and continued to hide in the void as he stealthily followed behind. He wanted to see the expressions of these people. Sure enough, when he arrived, he saw that those people were roaring crazily. Their faces turned green. Damn it, how could it be like this? This is impossible. Where is the treasure? Di Ling went crazy. He was so angry that smoke was coming out of his head. He who was beside him also had an extremely ugly expression. The few little saints didn't pay much attention to their surroundings. They were fighting in all directions, causing the void to tremble. They found that the small ancient tower had disappeared. Damn it, did someone take it away from him? They were about to go crazy. Someone took advantage of the time when they were fighting for the Qilin horn, and quietly took away the small ancient tower. This made their hearts bleed. Everyone knew that the treasure in the small ancient tower was definitely more precious than the Qilin horn. However, they guessed that it would be even harder to obtain it. That was why they prepared to take the Qilin horn first, and then slowly take over the small ancient tower. However, they didn't expect that the Qilin horn would be taken away by someone else. When they returned, the most precious ancient tower had also disappeared. Damn it! Damn it! Diling roared. He had never felt so aggrieved before. Don't let me find out who took away the treasure that I set my eyes on. Otherwise, I will go to the 9 heavens and 10 earths and tear that person into pieces. Yubihi's expression was cold. The few little saints' faces were dark. The middle-aged man with a pale face shook his head and left without saying anything. After him, the other little saints also left one after another. There were still some people who didn't give up and quickly searched around. However, they found nothing. There were also some places that they didn't dare to explore, such as the death mist. Therefore, when they saw that there were no more treasures around, they didn't want to stay. After all, the death mist was a big threat. In the end, Diling also left quickly. When Yubihi turned around and left, his eyebrows suddenly twitched. He felt a wave coming from the void. The wave was very familiar to him. However, he couldn't remember where he had sensed it before. Nevertheless, he still paid attention to it. He followed the crowd and left. After about half a day, he came back alone. His gaze rarely traveled in all directions. When he carefully examined his surroundings, he revealed a puzzled expression. I can't sense it. It shouldn't be. I clearly sensed a familiar aura. What is it? Are you looking for me? At this moment, a voice sounded. Yubihi was startled. He quickly turned around, and the light of the law burst out. At the same time, the law decree surrounded him as if he was facing a great enemy. At the next moment, he was stunned. Damn it, it's you. He was completely stunned because he saw a person, and it was a very familiar person. However, he couldn't believe it. Isn't he dead? The person in front of me is the first heaven ant. Was he the one who threw him into the death mist? How is that possible? He's still alive? Is he a ghost? Thinking of this, he sneered. Kid, do you think that you can threaten me after turning into a ghost after death? Today, I will destroy your soul. With a wave of his hand, boundless laws soared into the sky like a vast ocean, surging towards the sky. Yubihi was really strong. Even a 5th heaven saint wouldn't be able to block this attack. Lin Xian was already prepared. When Yubihi raised his hand, he instantly moved away. He dodged the attack and appeared in another place. You're quite fast, but do you think you can dodge it? Yubihi sneered. He raised his hand and prepared to attack again. Chapter 3609. Lin Xian's expression was cold. He stepped on the ground and stared coldly at the other party. Do you really think that you can kill me? Fine, I'll let you taste the taste of despair today. The Taiji diagram in his body rotated rapidly, and the power of Taiji burst out. His body shone brightly. This was the power of the sun, and at the same time, the power of the moon was activated. The death mist in the surroundings was controlled by him, and it surged towards him. How is this possible? You're not dead yet? Yu Bieha was shocked when he saw his opponent's dazzling physique. The next moment he was even more shocked. What did he see? The death mist was surging towards him. Damn it, can he control the death mist? He was stunned. What kind of technique is this? Even a minor saint can't do it. How did he do it? This brat is too strange. Moreover, his body contains endless secrets. Humph, I'll definitely ask you once I catch you. He turned into a ray of light, and instantly shuttled through the void. In the blink of an eye, he arrived in front of Lin Xian. Brat, go to hell. A huge hand grabbed Lin Xian's head, trying to capture his soul and search it. Asterisk buzz. Asterisk Lin Xian suddenly disappeared, and the void where he was standing was shattered. The next moment, he walked out from another place. I've said that you can't kill me. Today, I'll let you experience despair. Spatial divine ability? Yubi's face turned gloomy. His opponent's movement technique was very strange. It was as if he had teleported. That's right. Lin Xian had used a spatial divine ability, the void escape technique. He was getting more and more familiar with it now. The next moment, the light on his body became even more resplendent, and the death mist shrouded his body. His whole person looked extremely strange. What? You're the guardian? Yu Bieha could no longer remain calm after seeing this. The previous scenes appeared in his mind. Now he finally knew why the previous guardian was targeting him. So it's this brat in front of me. Run. That was Yu Bi's thought. He couldn't defeat his opponent in the previous battle. He didn't dare to resist the death mist. He had to go back and report to his family, so that they could send out many experts to explore this place. He wanted to thoroughly uncover the secrets of this place. Breaking through the void, he took a step inside, wishing to leave. If you want to leave, do you think you can? Lin Xian snorted coldly and waved his fist. He mobilized his precepts and activated the death fog with all his might. With a single strike, the void was shattered. Yu Bieha was shaken out. His face was pale and full of disbelief. His opponent was simply too strong. Damn it, I refuse to accept this. Brat, if you have the ability, don't use the power of the death mist. Haha, you still have the face to say this. Your cultivation level is 4 heavenly layers higher than mine, and you actually dare to say that you're not convinced. If you have the guts to suppress your cultivation and fight me at the same level, I'll beat you into a pulp. I'm so angry. Yu Bieha was mad with anger. He didn't dare to fight and could only run away. He tried to break out of the encirclement several times, but was beaten back by Lin Xian. Damn brat, I'll fight it out with you. Yu Bieha roared and opened the decree. He spat out 3 mouthfuls of blood on the decree. Immediately, the ancient Tao scripture character bloomed with dazzling light. A red light pierced through the void like a blood sword, piercing towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian felt a sense of danger. However, he sneered and opened his mouth to spit out a decree. The decree became bigger and opened. The ancient characters on it also bloomed with light, although it was not as good as the one on the other side. However, it was enough. In an instant, the blood-red light was blocked. Then, the remaining power was shattered by Su Cheng's death fog. Rain Clan's decree? It was only SOSO. Damn it, how could it be? You also have a decree. What was going on? Yu Bieha was completely stunned, because he realized that the thing taken out by his opponent was also a decree. Moreover, it was exactly the same as his. How could his opponent have a decree? Who are you? Who are you? He roared madly. When you go to hell, the king of hell will tell you. Lin Xian did not intend to hold back. The death fog that blotted out the sky and covered the earth rolled over. The entire sky was dyed black. Ah, damn brat, I will tear you into pieces. Yu Bieha roared madly in the fog. However, it soon turned into a frightened scream. Misunderstanding. It was a misunderstanding between us. Spare my life. I will definitely not attack you in the future. I will give you all my treasures. I beg you to spare me. However, it was still useless. In the end he roared, I am not satisfied. Then there was no more sound. When the fog dissipated, only a pile of white bones was left behind. Lin Xian took out the decree from the pile of bones, and directly threw it into the great sage pagoda to be refined by the starry sky fire. Then he took away the other party's storage room. With a sneer, he left the sky-connecting tower. It seemed that it was time to cultivate in seclusion. Lin Xian thought. After experiencing so much, he needed to properly temper himself. Especially when it came to the Qilin tattoo. He needed to properly ponder over it. Therefore, he was going to find a place. Originally, he planned to leave the Azurewood Tower and go to other worlds to cultivate. However, not long after he flew out of the sky-connecting tower, he felt a sharp pain on his body. It was as if there was a needle poking him. He tore open his clothes and found that the Qilin tattoo on his body appeared again. A mysterious power was flowing on it. Damn it, this thing is going to be powerful. I need to quickly refine it. Therefore, he could only find a place on the azure wood star to cultivate in seclusion. He found a place far away from the sky-connecting tower. Lin Xian entered the mountain range, built a cave, and then went in. After covering it with a formation, he began to cultivate in seclusion. The next few days were really torture for him. The energy released by the Qilin tattoo was too terrifying. It was as if the starry sky fire was burning him. However, Lin Xian had experienced countless hardships. Therefore, although it was painful, he could still endure it. In the end, he directly used all the resources he had obtained during this period of time. For example, the millions of divine crystals and all kinds of heavenly treasures. These were the things he had obtained from the storage rings of countless experts he had killed. At this moment, he did not hold back and used all of them. At this moment, the news on the azure wood star had also spread. The people of many worlds had learned about it. Originally, they wanted to search for treasures. However, when they asked, they found that the treasures were gone. Moreover, there was the death mist in the ancient tower, so many people gave up on the idea. Of course, there were also some bold experts who were prepared to come and explore again. Buzz. A spirit ship cut through the wind and landed on the azure wood star. A beautiful woman walked out of it. This woman was too beautiful and very cute. Her big eyes were like crescent moons. As soon as she came down, she looked around. She heard that the sky-connecting tower had appeared here. She wondered where it was. Forget it, she'd better look for it in the entire world. She flew quickly. After flying for less than an incense stick's time, he came to a stop. In a mountain range not far away, a violent rumble suddenly sounded, and then the world changed drastically. Chapter 36:10. Countless dark clouds appeared in the sky. Bolts of lightning the size of mountains struck down. It was as if a hole had been torn in the sky. It was a series of explosions. There were even roars that resounded through the 9 heavens. But soon, those sounds disappeared. This made the beautiful girl very puzzled. The roar just now seemed to be from a dragon. There was also another sound. Although it was not a dragon's roar, its power was not weak at all. Heavens! Could it be that 2 divine beasts of heaven and earth were fighting here? Right, it sounded a little like a Qilin's voice. It was said that a Qilin horn appeared in the ancient Tower of Heaven. It was possible that a powerhouse of the Qilin race was buried there. The voice of a Qilin appeared here again. Could there be a connection? The girl thought for a moment, then looked in that direction. However, the images and sounds of heaven and earth had disappeared. Something was wrong. It should be an array formation. She went over and found an array formation. She tore a corner of the array formation and saw the violent scene inside. The girl stuck out her tongue and ran into the distance. She would wait for the images to disappear before looking again. She waited. She waited for 7 days and 7 nights. Finally, the violent energy disappeared. The girl tore the array formation and rushed in. Lin Xian walked out of the shattered mountain range. He was very depressed and his body was still emitting black smoke. Damn it, this lightning tribulation was too terrifying, right? He almost didn't make it. However, what made him happy was that he had broken through to the 2nd level of the Sage Realm. He had finally advanced to another level. Now his strength had undergone an earth-shattering change. His physique was equivalent to a 4th-level sage. He was even confident that he could withstand a few blows from a 5th-level sage. His strength had increased, and his comprehension of the laws had also increased. However, the only thing that made him depressed was his current appearance. At this moment, black Qilin tattoos were all over his body, including his face. Therefore, he looked like a walking Qilin instead of his original appearance. How could he go out like this? Would he be mistaken for a divine beast and be captured to be refined into pills? Lin Xian shook his head. He sensed that it would take some time for these Qilin tattoos to completely return to normal. Therefore, he planned to stay in the deep mountains for the time being. Squeak. The array formation was torn open. Suddenly, Lin Xian was stunned. Someone had torn open his array formation and entered directly. Who was it? How did they attract an expert so quickly? He wanted to leave, but soon he saw a beautiful figure streaking across the void and arriving in front of him. Wow, is that a Qilin? And it's a black Qilin heavens, it's really a divine beast. A very pleasant voice was heard. Lin Xian was stunned when he heard this voice. And then he suddenly turned around and revealed an expression of disbelief. He was completely stunned. He saw a young girl. She was wearing an emerald green dress. Her smile was like a flower, and her eyes were bright. She was exceptionally cute. The girl stood in the air like a little fairy, blinking her big eyes. That's not right of the human Qilin kilt, forget it. Qilin Qian, I of the Qilin Chu. Lin of Lin Qilu Chu, Lin Qilin Chu Yu. Lin Qilin Chu. Lin Qilin walked up to him with an adorable look on her face. Lin Xian was completely stunned. In the next moment he walked up to her, opened his arms and ran forward. I missed you so much, little girl. Why are you here? In an instant, he hugged the beautiful girl. The girl was shocked. A terrifying power surged out of her body and bounced Lin Xian away. With a boom, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The power of laws spread, and the great path surged. A terrifying crack appeared in the sky. Lin Xian felt the blood in his body churning. The girl's face darkened. Qilin, you're too dishonest. How dare you take advantage of me? Do you want to die? I only wanted a pair of Qilin horns, but now I'm going to beat you up. You've grown so quickly, little girl. Lin Xian stood up, patted the dirt off his body, and walked over again. Stop right there. What do you want? If you come any closer, I won't be polite to you. Purple light surged out of the girl's body. It was like a purple fog that surrounded her. She was wearing purple armor, and the great path surged around her. Qiu, it's me. You actually know my name? Who are you? I'm not familiar with the Qilin race. The girl was very wary. Lin Xian squinted. This girl was none other than Jingqiu. He did not expect to meet her here. Furthermore, it seemed like her abilities had improved by leaps and bounds. She did not recognize him. Lin Xian was stunned at first. After that, he recalled that his entire body was covered in Qilin tattoos. He looked like a mythical beast. Who would recognize me? He suddenly had an idea to tease this little girl. Of course I know you. I've known you for a long time. I've liked you for a long time. Who do you think you are? Let me tell you, I have a husband. My husband is an indomitable genius. If you dare to have any ideas about me, I'll ask my husband to beat you up. Is that so? Is your husband very powerful? Lin Xian was amused. Jingqiu snorted coldly. Of course. Don't think that you can be arrogant just because you're from the Qilin race. Let me tell you, my husband beat up many of the Qilin race's geniuses in the past. Not to mention the Qilin race, he even beat up the geniuses of the dragons and phoenixes. So, hand over the Qilin horn obediently. If you dare to have any ideas about me, you're really dead. If your husband is so powerful, where is he? Lin Xian asked. As she spoke until here, the little girl's expression suddenly darkened. Yes, he should be in the first astral realm. However, he'll be here soon. So you'd better behave yourself. Seeing the little girl's gloomy expression, Lin Xian could not hold it in any longer. He said, Qiu, it's me. I said, don't call me that. Jingqiu snorted coldly. However, she was soon stunned. Wait, why does this voice sound so familiar? Could it be Brother Lin? That's not right. This is a Qilin. She's obviously lying to me. It seems like you've done a thorough investigation on me. You actually dare to imitate my husband's voice. If I don't beat you up today, you'll have to. The little girl snorted coldly. With a wave of her hand, a purple cloud flew over. The laws of heaven and earth surged continuously. Lin Xian sighed. He also knew that he could not return to his normal appearance. If he wanted the little girl to believe him, he could only use some tricks. However, he was not in a hurry. He wanted to test the little girl's recent cultivation progress. He also used his divine ability to fight with his opponent. The two of them exchanged more than 1,000 blows. Lin Xian was very surprised. The current Jingqiu could be said to be very powerful. Chapter 36:11. Her cultivation was at the third heaven of the sage realm, and she had all sorts of nomological laws and supernatural powers. Furthermore, it seemed like she still had some trump cards that she hadn't used yet. This made him very surprised. The other party's growth rate really shocked him. At the same time, he was also very happy. Shinjinki's improvement was great news to him. He knew that it was time to reunite with her, so he didn't attack again. Instead, he roared into the sky. His aura rose infinitely, and streaks of sword chi shot into the sky. Those were all dragon-shaped sword chi, and they were like thousands of huge dragons roaming between heaven and earth. Oh no, why is this fellow so terrifying? That's not right. Why is his qilin roaring? Is it a mutated breed? That's not right. This is dragon-shaped sword chi. Why does it look so similar to Brother Lin's sword chi? This fellow is too good at imitating. The little girl was very suspicious at first, but she was stunned when she saw the great dragon sword soul. Only Lin Xian had the great dragon sword soul. She exclaimed, "You are really Brother Lin." "That's right, it's me, Qiu." Lin Xian told her some little secrets that only he and Shinjingqiu knew. Shinjingqiu completely believed him. She immediately jumped into Lin Xian's arms and cried. "Silly girl, why are you crying? Aren't I here now? Brother Lin, I really missed you. It's great that you can come." Lin Xian comforted her. Then the little girl poked her head out of Lin Xian's arms. She was very surprised. "Brother Lin, what happened to you? Why did you turn into a qilin? Qiu didn't recognize you." "Sai, it's a long story." Lin Xian simply told her about his experience in the ancient Tower of Heaven. Shinjingqiu was very surprised. "So that's what happened. You obtained the treasure of the ancient qilin. Who would have thought that the treasures of the ancient Clear Heaven Tower that everyone was talking about would actually be obtained by Big Brother Lin?" Shinjingqiu was very surprised. "Oh yes, Qiu, do you know anything about Peerless City?" Lin Xian asked. "I know a little. Brother Lin, are you also here to join the Holy City?" Shinjingqiu was pleasantly surprised. "That's great. I'm also preparing to take part in the Wuxia City's assessment." Next, the two of them exchanged information. Lin Xian talked about his experiences over the years. Shinjingqiu also shared her experience, and Lin Xian was very surprised. It turned out that because of Shinjingqi's bloodline, she had joined the Spirit Clan, and became a member of the Spirit Clan. Shinjingqiu was a spirit body and could mobilize the power of heaven and earth to obtain great power. This was something that Lin Xian had seen before. There was also a race in the world called the Spirit Race. Her bloodline was very similar to Shinjingqi's, but not as heaven-defying as Shinjingqi's. Therefore, Shinjingqiu was equivalent to a saintess in the Spirit Clan. "Now that you're in the Spirit Clan, can you also join Wuxia City?" Lin Xian was surprised. "No problem. Wuxia City did not restrict one's own family or force. Of course, there were restrictions. For example, you had to pass the assessment. Once you joined a holy city, you could not join other holy cities. These holy cities were competing with each other." Lin Xian understood. It turned out that there was not only one holy city. Other than Wuxia City, he also knew of Sky Thunder City. Other than that, there were other holy cities. Each of them was incomparably huge. It could be said that they were the true overlords of the ancient Starry Sky Road, because each holy city had a sage king overseeing it. Since Shinjingqiu was also going to join Wuxia City, Lin Xian and Shinjingqiu went on their way. They boarded a spirit ship and left Azure Tree Star. Along the way, the two of them did not cultivate. Instead, they poured out their love to each other. One was as beautiful as water, while the other was as gentle as a steel man. They went through thick and thin together. Finally, one day they came to a world. This world was very unique. The stars were not regular. Instead, they were like swallows. Hence, this world was called Swallow Star. According to Shinjingqiu, this place was very close to Wuxia City. Hence, anyone who wanted to join Wuxia City's assessment would come here. The Flying Swallow Star was considered a subsidiary force of the Peerless City. The entire Peerless City was huge. It was a city built by an unparalleled expert over tens of thousands of years. It was even bigger than an entire world. The city floated in the universe like a gigantic object. Lin Xian stood on the Flying Goose Planet and could feel the terrifying power of the heavens and earth. There were many martial artists on Swallow Star, and they were all very powerful. Shinjingqiu said that Wuxia City did not recruit many disciples. Until now they had only recruited 2 generations of disciples. This time, they were recruiting the 3rd generation of disciples. As for the other holy cities, they had a long history and had recruited more than 10 generations. It was because Wuxia City was recruiting the 3rd generation of disciples that they attracted so many people. If they could get in, they would definitely become a core member of the holy city. However, it was very difficult to join the holy city. If they were not outstanding and talented, it was not impossible at all. Hence, even though there were so many people in the world, the number of people who could succeed was less than 1 in 10 million. After all, the holy city was recruiting disciples from all over the universe. The entire 2nd astral realm would be in an uproar. How many worlds and geniuses would that be? Lin Xian took a deep breath. He was shocked. However, he had absolute confidence in himself. After Shen Jingqiu came down, she asked around, and was surprised. Brother Lin Xian, we came at the right time. I heard that the projection of the 9th heaven has been projected. We can go and experience it then. What is the projection of the 9th heaven? Lin Xian asked. Shen Jingqiu said that it was the content of the assessment. It was said that Wuxia City would use the 9th heaven as the assessment. Only by stepping into the 9th heaven would one be qualified to take the next assessment. After hearing this, Lin Xian had a rough understanding. It should be a screening. There were too many people participating in the assessment, so most of them had to be eliminated and the elite geniuses would be kept. Lin Xian was not unfamiliar with this practice, but he was very curious about the 9th heaven. I don't know what it will be like. Why don't we go and take a look? Okay, but it's just a projection now. We should be able to roughly sense it. Next, the 2 of them cut through the void and left the goose flying star. They came to the outer realm and flew east for about half a day. They saw a huge shadow in front of them. It was tens of thousands of miles tall, and had a terrifying aura. It was as if it had poked a hole in the sky. This should be the projection of the 9th heaven. The real 9th heaven is above. Let's go and sense it. Lin Xian was surprised. What a terrifying pressure. Ordinary sages would not be able to withstand it. He saw that there were many people around, and was ready to sense it in advance. A sage of the 1st heaven would not be able to stand here, let alone move forward. Lin Xian guessed that to enter, one would have to be at least at the 2nd heaven. If one wanted to get a good result, one would need to be at the 3rd or 4th heaven. It was really shocking. Chapter 36:12. In the 1st astral realm, being able to become a saint was already a peerless genius. But in the 2nd astral realm, it was not enough. For example, Di Ling was already a late 4th heavenly layer expert. There should be many other geniuses too. And these were only those who were participating in the assessment. Those who were already disciples of the sacred city. How terrifying were they? He thought of Lei Qianzhong and the others again. Back in the 1st astral realm, he was already shocked. Now it seemed that Lei Qianzhong was probably at the bottom of the heavenly thunder sacred city. The real geniuses of the sacred city should be like Fu Hongya. She alone could suppress a small saint to the point that they did not dare to resist. Thinking of this, Lin Xian clenched his fists excitedly. He must join the Wuxia city. He took a deep breath and said, "Let's give it a try." The 2 of them flew up quickly. Lin Xian and Shen Jingqiu felt pressured as soon as they entered the black projection. However, Lin Xian and Shen Jingqiu were both strong. This pressure was not much of a threat to them. They flew up for tens of thousands of miles. Lin Xian felt the pressure getting bigger and bigger. Shen Jingqiu, who was beside him, was also sweating. Lin Xian stopped and asked, "It's okay." Shen Jingqiu looked at Lin Xian and pouted. "Brother Lin, your physique is too strong. It's not affected at all." Lin Xian laughed. "You're not simple either. Last time, we fought more than 1,000 moves and we were evenly matched. Moreover, I'm a body cultivator. My physique is strong. You should know this. What you have is a spirit Buddha specialty, not in defense but in other aspects. You must have a lot of trump cards that you haven't used yet. Hee, you saw through me." Shen Jingqiu laughed. Indeed, the 9-yang divine body was the type with strong defense. Her spirit body was another type. "Brother Lin, why don't we compete and see who can reach the real 9th heavenly layer first?" The loser has to agree to a request. Speaking of this, she blinked cutely. Okay. Lin Xian said with a smile. His childlike innocence had been awakened. The two of them turned into streams of light and shuttled back and forth. Lin Xian did not use any laws at all. His physique was extremely powerful. Along the way, the pressure slammed into his body, but it didn't cause any ripples. On the other side, Shen Jingqiu used his nomological divine ability. A purple auspicious cloud appeared on his body and circled around him. He instantly resisted the pressure. The two of them were extremely fast. Lin Xian was surprised. They really did have some tricks up their sleeves. He said, Qiu I have to speed up. Speaking up to this point, he stomped his foot, and brilliant light burst forth from his body, making him look like a sun. His speed doubled once more. Shen Jingqiu formed a seal with her fingers. Purple qi came from the east. As a spirit body, she could mobilize the power of heaven and earth much more efficiently than others. The surrounding pressure was actually mobilized by him and transformed into his own power. As a result, his speed also doubled. The speed of the two was really too fast. Wherever they passed, some people were extremely surprised. Was it a gust of wind that blew past just now? Finally, the two of them stopped. This place was already very high, and the surroundings were chaotic. Above them were the 9 levels of heaven, superimposed on each other. It made people feel awe at a glance. What a terrifying aura. The two of them stood in front of the 9 levels of heaven. They couldn't go any further. This was the true place of the test. However, they could only watch now. There was basically no one around, except for the two of them. The two of them sensed for a while and wanted to leave. However, at this moment, the sound of something tearing through the air came from behind again. Someone was coming. Shen Jingqiu was surprised. She turned her head to look. Was it another expert? In the next moment, she was stunned. The people behind her were also stunned. Fairy, Shen Jingqiu revealed a look of surprise. The person behind her was Wuxia, and there were a few people beside her. Wuxia looked at Shen Jingqiu with a look of surprise. The holy maiden of the spirit clan. She did not expect the other party to be here. And with someone beside her. A man. This holy maiden of the spirit clan was also a peerless beauty. She was very famous in the second astral realm, and her reputation was not inferior to hers. Moreover, it was rumored that she was also incomparably beautiful and had never been close to men. What was going on? Was this man also from the spirit clan? However, when she saw the man turn around, she was stunned. It's you. How was this possible? She was incomparably shocked because she discovered that this person was none other than Lin Xian. She was no stranger to Lin Xian, as he had just rescued her not too long ago. And he had left from the Rain clan. Why was he here, and with the holy maiden of the spirit clan? It was really too inconceivable. Wuxia was shocked, but the expressions of the people beside her darkened. Their eyes were filled with biting cold killing intent. Clearly, this killing intent was targeted at Lin Xian. This scene also stunned Shen Jingqiu. What was going on? These people were targeting Brother Lin. Instantly, she furrowed her brows. Lin Xian was also stunned. Enemies were bound to meet on a narrow road. He did not expect to meet enemies just by coming to see the 9th heaven. In front of him, besides Wuxia, there was also her younger brother, Yuqinya, and a few other young masters. Zhang Yunfei was also among them. At this moment, Zhang Yunfei's expression was incomparably cold. To be honest, he was so angry that his entire body was trembling. He really could not forget that he had been beaten up by this person last time. Of course, he believed that this person had ambushed him. With his true strength, he was not weaker than this person. Damn brat, I was careless last time. This time, you will die without a doubt. Haha, you know that you are a loser, but you still dare to boast like this. Lin Xian shook his head, his eyes filled with disdain. Cultivate for another 1,000 years, then come find me again. Damn it, do you dare to fight me now? Zhang Yunfei stepped forward, his eyes red. However, Lin Xian did not step forward, but Shen Jingqiu did. She said coldly, "What, are you going to attack my brother Lin?" "What brother Lin?" Zhang Yunfei was stunned. Many people sucked in a cold breath. Even Wuxia and Yuqinya frowned. Such an intimate address meant that their relationship was not ordinary. But wasn't this too unbelievable? They were very clear about Lin Xian's background. Lin Xian came from the first astral realm, and had just arrived. How could he know the holy maiden of the spirit clan? And their relationship was so close that they were about to go crazy. Zhang Yunfei was also stunned. He did not attack, only snorting coldly. After all, this was the holy maiden of the spirit clan. She was of noble status. He did not dare to attack her lightly, but his eyes burned. He was so jealous. Damn it! What was wrong with this brat? Why did he know the holy maiden of the spirit clan? Damn it too, damn it! Why was this brat's luck with women so good? Chapter 36:13. First, it was Wuxia who was very close to him, but fortunately, they became enemies. Who would have thought that the holy maiden of the spirit clan would be with him? What kind of trick did this brat have to make such a beauty fall in love with him? They really wanted to catch him and take his soul. Even if they couldn't take any peerless martial arts, they felt that their lives would be worth it if they could get this method to make a beauty fall in love with him. Don't worry, even if you didn't come, this guy wouldn't be able to beat me. He lost to me. That's right, I knew that Brother Lin was the strongest. How could these guys be your opponent? Zhang Yunfei and the others were so angry that they wanted to vomit blood. Damn it, they were slapped in the face just like that? And they couldn't even fight back. Humph, that was a sneak attack. If I fought seriously, he wouldn't be my opponent at all. Zhang Yunfei gritted his teeth. Brat, if you have the ability, don't hide behind a woman. Come out and fight with me. I'll show you how strong I am. That's right, holy maiden. This brat came from the first astral realm. He's a liar. He wanted to trick our Yu clan before, but we saw through him. I didn't expect him to trick you again. You can't be tricked by him. Yuqinya also spoke quickly. He looked at Shen Jingqiu with a fiery gaze. This Shen Jingqiu, whether it was appearance or status, didn't lose to his sister. In fact, she was even more outstanding than his sister. This made the Yu clan's young master's heart move. However, Shen Jingqiu was angry. You're the liar. Your whole family are liars. This is my brother Lin. This is my husband. How could he be a liar? With that, Shen Jingqiu hugged Lin Xian's arm. On the other side, Yuqinya, Zhang Yunfei, and the others were stunned. Damn, both sides had confirmed their relationship. Such a good fairy was snatched away by a brat. Their hearts were broken. One had to know that in the second astral realm, there were a few famous beauties. Yusiki was one of them, and Shen Jingqiu was also one of them. But now the peerless Bowtie's heart actually belonged to someone else. They were about to go crazy from anger. Let's go, Brother Lin. Let's not bother with these bad people. Shen Jingqiu pulled Lin Xian's hand, and the two of them left Yuqinya's side. This made everyone's faces turn green. Damn it, damn it. I don't believe it. No, he had to find a chance to kill him. Zhang Yunfei and the others gritted their teeth. Even Yusiki furrowed her brows. Her expression was extremely displeased. She felt that she was being ignored. No one had ever dared to ignore her beauty, but someone had done it today. Moreover, this person had once saved her life. Don't worry, elder sister, that brat definitely won't live for long. Someone will kill him, Yuqinya said from the side. On the other side, Shen Jingqiu and Lin Xian left Ninth Heaven and returned to Fian Planet. They found a valley with mountains, water, and spirit veins and settled down temporarily. Of course, this Sangu cave dwelling wasn't for anyone to live in. Shen Jingqiu had spent a lot of money to buy it. At this moment, every inch of land on Fian Planet was shockingly expensive. Those who had no money could only live in the cold outer space. In the valley, Lin Xian and Shen Jingqiu once again lived their life as husband and wife. It could be said that they lived like gods. However, they didn't know that a piece of news about them was spreading quickly. And the person who spread this news was Yuqinya. After Yuqinya and the others returned from Ninth Heaven, they felt that they couldn't be so passive. They had to find a way to create some trouble. It would be best if they could get someone else to do the dirty work. Therefore, they spread all kinds of news. Did you know? The saintess of the spirit tribe already had a husband. What? Impossible? The saintess of the spirit tribe was as pure as ice and as beautiful as jade. She was pursued by countless geniuses but failed. How could she have a husband? Yes, it was true. It was said that someone saw the two of them holding hands. Who was it? Could it be someone from the spirit tribe? No, it was said that someone from the first astral realm came. What? Trash from the first astral realm. Those geniuses from the two astral realms were furious. In their eyes, the people from the first astral realm were trash. They didn't care about them at all. Only those from the two astral realms were worthy of a peerless beauty, like Shen Jingqiu. But now there was someone from the first astral realm who didn't know what was good for him. I want to see which ant dares to be so arrogant. Catch him and kill him. The saintess of the spirit tribe wasn't someone that any toad could get close to. Don't worry, we can definitely kill him. That kid is very weak. It is said that he is only an early second heaven sage. What? An early second heaven sage is qualified? Damn, I thought that those who weren't at the fourth heaven sage wouldn't even be able to see the goddess. How could a second heaven kid get such preferential treatment? Damn it, he must be practicing some evil technique. Yes, he might be using his soul to control the saintess. No, we must catch him and tear him to pieces. Countless crazy roars rang out. These people searched everywhere, wanting to fight to the death with the other party to save the saintess. This matter caused an uproar, so much so that the other members of the spirit tribe also heard it. They were also stunned. Their saintess had a husband? What kind of joke was this? Why didn't they know? Moreover, it was someone from the first astral realm. Could it be that the saintess had an accident outside? They instantly became nervous. But then they thought that something was wrong. Their saintess was very talented and powerful. Moreover, she had many trump cards. If something happened to the saintess, they should be the first to know. But now they didn't receive any news at all. But what was going on? Who was spreading the rumors? No, quickly find out where Shen Jingqiu is. An expert gave the order. The saintess was the hope of the spirit tribe. They couldn't let anything happen to Shen Jingqiu. In an instant, these people were tempted. Soon, they locked onto a valley and moved out. The people of the spirit tribe were very beautiful. The men were handsome, and the women were beautiful. Moreover, they had a spiritual aura about them. The moment they appeared, the power of the heavens and earth would surge. Therefore, the people of the spirit tribe were the focus of attention wherever they went. When these people of the spirit tribe headed out of the valley, they immediately alerted the others. Look, it's the people of the spirit tribe. They're here. Obviously, they've been alerted by the news. They're going to look for the saintess. Follow them quickly. We'll definitely find the saintess. Yes, let's go and see if this rumor is true. These people followed one after another. When the people of the spirit tribe saw this, their faces changed. But it was too late for them to hide it. They could only speed up. Falling Flower Valley. It was exceptionally beautiful. There were all kinds of flower petals in it, like a paradise on earth. Among these flower petals, there was a young girl. She was like a fairy picking flowers. But suddenly, she raised her head and frowned. Chapter 36:14. In the next moment, she flashed and came to the other side of the valley. Soon, she saw a group of people landing in the valley. Why are you here? Shen Jingqiu frowned and asked. She knew these people from the spirit clan. However, she did not have a good relationship with these people. Therefore, she was surprised that they were here. Although she was also a spirit body and an innate spirit body, she was an outsider after all. However, her physique and bloodline were very similar to those of the spirit clan. In fact, she was stronger than most of the people in the spirit clan. Therefore, she was conferred the title of saintess by the spirit clan. In this way, the young women in the clan were very jealous. They often played tricks. However, Shen Jingqiu was very smart and powerful. Moreover, she was favored by many elders of the spirit clan. Therefore, nothing happened. Now that such a big thing had happened, they naturally came to gloat. If they were lucky, they might be able to ruin Shen Jingqiu's reputation and make her fall from the position of saintess. Sister, do you know that you are in big trouble? A woman with an enchanting figure said in a delicate voice. She was called Ling Lianhua. She was the person who was most against Shen Jingqiu in private, because she felt that if Shen Jingqiu did not come, she would be the saintess. Therefore, she felt that Shen Jingqiu had stolen her position. Trouble? What trouble did I get into? Shen Jingqiu was also curious. Did this woman take the wrong medicine today? Usually, she did not dare to provoke her. Why did she dare to come today? My good sister, you are too slow to get the news. Don't you know that these two are born together? Ling Lianhua was also stunned. She thought that Shen Jingqiu had made up countless excuses. She did not expect that she did not know at all. Thinking of this, she sneered in her heart. Let's see how you are going to die this time. She laughed. Do you know that there are rumors outside that you are with a man? Why are you still calling him your husband? Tell me, this is a big slander to the reputation of the Spirit Clan. That's right, you don't know how exaggerated the clothes outside were, saying that the person was only at the second layer of heaven, and was a piece of trash. They even said that this person came from the first star realm. Just listen to what they said. How could such a person be a genius? As the Holy Maiden, you represent the spirit race, so you have to think twice before you act. Most of the people who came were women from the spirit race. Of course, there were a few men as well. They were all the younger brothers or older brothers of these people. They were here to cheer. At this moment, they were all waiting for Shen Jingqiu to give an answer. The valley was crowded with people. Many people's eyes glowed as they used various eye techniques, formations, and weapons to observe the battle. What was going on? Was there really a man hiding inside? However, with the arrival of the spirit race, the truth would soon be revealed. Shen Jingqiu heaved a sigh of relief. She thought something big had happened. Wasn't it just these rumors? That day when she was with Lin Xian, she didn't hide anything. Moreover, they met Yusiki and the others near the ninth heaven. With the relationship between both parties, how could the Yu clan not make an issue out of this? Therefore, without a doubt, the news was released by the Yu clan. It was to target Lin Xian. I know what you said. Sisters, is there anything else? If there isn't, please leave. I still have to cultivate. I still have to participate in the Sacred City's examination in 2 days. Shen Jingqiu didn't have any emotional fluctuations, causing the crowd to be in an uproar. However, Ling Lianhua and the others were gritting their teeth. Damn it, why are you pretending? Let's see how you're going to be the Holy Maiden when the truth is revealed. However, in the next moment they were stunned. They found that Shen Jingqiu turned around and left. She walked into the valley ignoring them. Damn it, he had actually ignored them. Damn it, if it wasn't for the old ancestor protecting you, you wouldn't be where you are today. These people were furious. The men beside them also sneered and walked out. Holy Maiden, what kind of attitude is this? We care so much about the reputation of the spirit race, don't you care? Don't forget how we, the spirit race, have treated you. As the Holy Maiden, shouldn't you pay some price? That's right, or are you really hiding a man in this valley? If you really do, then let him come out. I want to see what methods he used to confuse you, Holy Maiden. That's right, that person has committed a crime. We will tear him into pieces. Holy Maiden, don't be afraid. With us here you won't be threatened. Shut up. Shen Jingqiu was furious. These people kept calling her trash. Who did they think she was? In her eyes, these people couldn't even compare to a strand of Lin Xian's hair. On the opposite side, Ling Lianhua and the others were shocked. They hadn't seen Shen Jingqiu being angry. They didn't expect her to scold them for a man. Suddenly, their faces darkened. On the other side, Shen Jingqiu said coldly, "Since you know that I'm the Holy Maiden of the spirit race, then you'd better behave yourselves in front of me. As the Holy Maiden, I can represent the entire spirit race and punish you. So don't go overboard. I don't want to fight you, but if you push me too far, don't blame me for being rude." Shen Jingqiu knew that she was an outsider. So even though she was the Holy Maiden, she didn't get angry with anyone. Her goal was simple. She wanted to cultivate and follow in Lin Xian's footsteps to reach the peak of martial arts. But now, these people were insulting Lin Xian. She couldn't take it anymore. Even if the old ancestor wanted to punish her, She would teach these people a lesson today. On the opposite side, Ling Lianhua and the others were shocked. They didn't expect Shen Jingqiu to be angry. Moreover, it seemed like she was going to fight. For a moment they were nervous. They had never seen the holy maiden like this. Qiu, why aren't the petals you plucked here? I've already brewed the spiritual wine. I'm just waiting for you to drink it. Suddenly, a voice came from the valley. When the voice came out, Ling Lianhua was stunned. The people in the surrounding valley were also stunned. There's someone in the valley, and it's a man's voice. After digging up the heavens, there really was a man hidden in this valley. The news spread like wildfire. Ling Lianhua and the others' minds went blank. To be honest, they thought it was just a rumor. They were prepared to suppress Shen Jingqiu. But they didn't expect to see it with their own eyes. Shen Jingqiu was really with another man. Who is it? Is it a piece of trash like the rumors said? They looked into the valley carefully. Soon they saw a man walking over. Chapter 36:15. It was a man in red. He was tall and handsome, and his eyes were as bright as the stars. People would be lost in his eyes at first glance. What a handsome man. Everyone was shocked. Even Ling Lianhua and the rest were tempted. His appearance and temperament could indeed make countless women fall in love with him. But in the next moment, they were stunned when they saw his cultivation level. He was at the second heaven of the sage realm, and he was at the initial stage. They showed a look of disdain. Such a cultivation level was considered good outside, but it was nothing in front of the geniuses of the spirit tribe. The weakest among them was at the second heaven of the sage realm, and many of them were at the third heaven of the sage realm. The people outside the valley were also stunned. Who is this man? Is he the legendary person from the first astral realm? Brother Lin, Shen Jingqiu looked at Lin Xian and called out softly. Lin Xian came to her side and rubbed her hair. Then he asked, "What are you doing? Why are you so slow? The wine is cold." He looked at the people in front of him and showed a look of surprise. The people of the spirit tribe, they are here to look for you? You are the husband of the saintess? Kid, what despicable means did you use to bewitch our saintess? Kneel down and accept your death. Today, I will destroy your soul. A few men of the spirit tribe walked out, emitting a strong aura. Lin Xian frowned. It seemed that they did not come with good intentions. He wanted to treat them to a drink, but it seemed that there was no need for that. Shen Jingqiu also transmitted her voice to Lin Xian. Brother Lin, be careful. These guys are targeting you, but I will help you deal with them. Lin Xian sighed in his heart. It seemed that Shen Jingqiu did not have a good life. After all, she was an outsider. Some people of the spirit tribe were unwilling to accept that she was the saintess of the spirit tribe. It seems that you are not friends. In that case, you should leave quickly. You are not welcome here. Lin Xian said coldly. He did not attack immediately. After all, these people were Shen Jingqiu's people. So he did not want to attack the spirit tribe unless it was a last resort. Kid, you want to chase us away? Do you have the qualifications to do so? A man walked out and sneered. His body emitted a powerful aura. He was a level 3 heaven's saint, and had a cold smile on his face. In his opinion, if he were to display his holy aura of the third heaven, his opponent would definitely be scared to the ground. He had to give the other party a show of strength and humiliate them. He wanted to see what Shen Jingqiu would do. However, very soon he was stunned. That was because he discovered that showing off his strength was completely useless. Lin Xian coldly stood there with a sneer on his face. Why didn't he want to leave? Do you want me to send you off personally? If that's the case, I'm afraid your spiritual race's reputation won't look too good. How could this be? He actually ignored my saint aura. The man was stunned. One must know that there was a difference of an entire cultivation realm between the two of them. Just by using his saint's might, he could easily force the other party to kneel on the ground. However, this move didn't succeed at all. Damn it, isn't this brat too strange? Kid, don't be arrogant in front of me. If it wasn't for the saintess, you would be a dead man now. You should be the lucky ones. Lin Xian sneered. If Qiu wasn't your saintess, all of you would be in hell now. You're all alive now because of Qiu. Indeed, Lin Xian was giving face to Shen Jingqiu. Otherwise, these people wouldn't have the qualifications to be arrogant in front of him. Damn it, Ling Lian and the others were so angry that their faces turned pale. A small ant dared to be so arrogant in front of them. Hee hee, even if I have to offend the saintess today, I will kill you personally. The man walked out with a powerful aura around him. How dare you? Shen Jingqiu shouted angrily. He was also angry. He had already given these people a lot of face. I'm warning you, don't go overboard. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. Sister Qiu are you really going to ignore the spirit tribe's reputation and be together with such a person? Ling Lian said coldly. Shen Jingqiu said that it's my freedom to be with whoever I want. I think even the spirit tribe won't restrict me on this point. Furthermore, aren't you embarrassing the spirit tribe by doing this? It seems like Sister Ling has grown up. Otherwise, the spirit tribe wouldn't even care about you. Alright, let's let the elders decide on this matter. I hope that you can still be as persistent as you are now. Evidently, Ling Lian wanted to expose this matter to the spirit tribe and let the elders make the decision. When the time came, he wanted to see how Shen Jingqiu would deal with it. Those elders doted on her. They wouldn't let the spirit tribe's reputation be tarnished. Shen Jingqiu ignored him, but his face turned cold. Lin Xian also frowned. These people dared to threaten Qiu. They deserved to die. He said in a deep voice. I'll give you 2 seconds to disappear from my sight. Hey kid, you dare to release your killing intent in front of me? Do you believe that ill? The level 3 sage sneered again. A level 2 ant dared to release his killing intent. Wasn't he courting death? But before he could finish his sentence, he screamed. In the next moment, his arm was broken. Lin Xian finally couldn't help but take action. He broke the other party's arm and threw it back. The surrounding people were all stunned. The spirit tribe people were also stunned. Their pupils constricted. How could this be? Wasn't the other party a level 2 sage? How could he injure a level 3 sage? This went against common sense. How dare you injure me? Cracking sounds came from the spirit race clansman's body as his broken arm healed once again. He wanted to rush over, but Lin Xian drew a line on the ground with his finger. Those who crossed the line would die. This time, the voice was merciless. The entire world shook violently. Unknowingly, the level 3 sage stopped. His face was filled with fear. Ling Lian and the others also felt their souls trembling. What was going on? They actually showed fear. This shouldn't be. Was this person really only at the 2nd celestial layer? Was he really trash? But how could he release such an aura? The spirit race's people were stunned by the ravine. The spectators around the valley were also shocked. This kid didn't seem to be as simple as he looked. I don't know. There's something strange. I have to investigate. But there were also people who sneered. An ant will always be an ant. No matter how strong he is, he can't do anything. Alright, I already know what you want to say. If you want to complain to the elders, feel free to do so. This is my valley. I don't welcome you. You should leave quickly. Shen Jingqiu walked out and said coldly. Alright, Sister Ling, see you in our family. Ling Lian snorted. She brought her people and soared into the sky, disappearing into the sky. Chapter 36:16. Brother Lin, I've made a fool of myself in front of you. Shen Jingqiu smiled bitterly. Lin Xian rubbed her little head. If you have any difficulties, just tell me. If it's not convenient for you to do anything, I'll help you. Murderous intent flashed across his eyes. Shen Jingqiu shook her head. Forget it. No matter what, they're from the spirit tribe. I've received a lot of care from the spirit tribe over the years, so I don't want to do anything to them. Seeing Lin Xian's loving gaze, Shen Jingqiu smiled. Don't worry. When we join Wuxia City, they won't dare to say anything. Don't worry, Qiu. I'll definitely be able to make a name for myself in the 2nd astral realm. When the time comes, the elders of the spirit tribe won't reject us. That's for sure. Qiu believes in Brother Lin. Shen Jingqiu smiled. Oh right, I heard that there's still some time before Wuxia City's assessment. I'm preparing to go into seclusion for the final push. Brother Lin, Are you also going into seclusion? I've just broken through, and it's not easy for me to go into seclusion. I'm going to walk around Azure Tree Star and understand the situation here. All right. Shen Jingqiu nodded. Suddenly she thought of something. Oh right, Brother Lin, you can go to this gathering. Gathering? What gathering? Lin Xian was surprised. Shen Jingqiu said that it's a small martial arts gathering for the top geniuses. I've also received an invitation. However, I'm going into seclusion and don't have time. Brother Lin, why don't you go on my behalf? It's a good opportunity to see what kind of geniuses are participating in this assessment. A martial arts gathering? Interesting. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. All right, I'll go and take a look. He received the invitation. Shen Jingqiu was preparing to go into seclusion. Lin Xian also set up a few arrays for Shen Jingqiu. Then he left behind an array formation for transmitting messages and left. Presumably, no one would be able to break through his array formation. Even if it was broken, he could teleport back in an instant. After doing all this, Lin Xian left Falling Flower Valley. He began to walk along the Valley of Falling Flowers, passing through one city after another. Due to the Peerless Cities test, the number of geniuses on the Flying Sparrow Star was way too high. It was a rare event. It was estimated that the experts of the countless worlds nearby had all gathered here. Some people even created a golden distinction roll based on these people's talent and strength. It was said that the people on the roll had a high chance of joining Wushuang City. On the gold roll, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. It was obvious that someone was trying to create momentum for the top geniuses. He easily got his hands on a list. There were dozens of geniuses on the golden distinction roll, but the most dazzling ones were the top 8. They were the 8 geniuses. The 8 geniuses were favored by countless people. They were all famous geniuses from the 2-star realms. Lin Xian immediately recognized Di Ling, who was ranked first among the 8 great geniuses. This imperial mausoleum was indeed incredible. Lin Xian nodded slightly. He had seen Di Mausoleum's battle before. Di Mausoleum was evenly matched with the older generation experts. Di Mausoleum's cultivation was at the late stage of the 4th heaven of the Sage Realm. In addition, there was an extremely terrifying coffin in his body that could greatly increase his strength. However, Lin Xian felt that the coffin was too cold. It was probably a trump card that could not be used easily. Below Di Mausoleum was a person called Gui Li. Lin Xian looked at the introduction. This Gui Li came from the Demon Star. He still remembered the Demon Star clearly. It was a place where countless ruthless people gathered. People who came from such a place would definitely have extremely ruthless means. Ghostly should be one of the best among them. Next, there were some people like Shirbufan, Shui Tianchen and others. They were all geniuses from different worlds, different clans. However, without exception, their names were known throughout the starry sky. Lin Xian also saw Shen Jingqiu's name. She was ranked 6th. It seemed that this little girl was also very famous. Other than Shen Jingqiu, he also saw a familiar face. That was Yu Qianye, the young master of the Yu clan. He was ranked below Shen Jingqiu. The 8 geniuses? He wondered how many people would be able to attend this martial arts competition. Lin Xian was looking forward to it. According to Shen Jingqiu, the martial arts competition would be held at Broken Cloud Mountain. Lin Xian identified the direction and sped up towards Broken Cloud Mountain. Broken Cloud Mountain towered into the clouds and had an extraordinary aura. There were many geniuses nearby. However, ordinary people could only wander around at the foot of the mountain. Without an invitation, they could not enter. When they arrived near Broken Cloud Mountain, flying was already prohibited. Therefore, when Lin Xian landed, he found many people waiting around. There was a beast pulling a chariot that brought them in. It was a 100-legged centipede. It was very large, like a mountain range. One could not see the end of it. There were countless chariots on its back. Lin Xian paid some divine crystals and boarded a chariot. There were a few other people in the chariot with her. One of them was a beautiful girl with fair skin. Beside her was a young master in luxurious clothes. He was waving a folding fan with an arrogant expression. There were a few other people, both men and women. However, their expressions were very cold and unapproachable. The girl with fair skin was very cute. When she got on the chariot, she looked at Lin Xian and said, "Hello, I'm Jiang Xiaoyu. Are you here for the martial arts competition too?" "Yes." Lin Xian nodded slightly. At this moment, the arrogant young man beside her said, "Xiaoyu, don't waste your breath on this guy. He's not dressed well. He probably doesn't even have the right to enter. He can only wander around at the foot of the mountain." Hearing this, Lin Xian raised his eyebrows slightly. Another arrogant young master. That Xiaoyu was the same. To be honest, she was very unhappy with Hua Yuke. However, she had no choice. This was the arrangement of her family. Her family wanted to matchmake her with Hua Yuke. She could only follow him helplessly. However, Xiaoyu did not like the other party's overbearing attitude. "I'm sorry," Xiaoyu said apologetically to Lin Xian. "He's very rude." Lin Xian was surprised. Looking at this girl, she should be a saint. He did not expect her to be so well educated. It seemed that people's personalities were indeed different. He smiled and said, "It's fine. I want mind." "Hee, do you dare to mind?" Hua Yuke sneered. He was the young master of the Hua family. He was very strong and had a high status. How dare this guy go against him? Was he tired of living? Lin Xian simply ignored young Master Hua's mysterious self-confidence. Closing his eyes, he sat in the war chariot, waiting for something to happen. After about an hour, the 100-legged centipede stopped. They had arrived at their destination. "Let's go, Xiaoyu." Hua Yuke took the lead and got off the chariot. Xiaoyu followed behind him, and the others got off as well. Lin Xian followed suit. There were even more people here. However, most of them did not have the right to enter. They could only wander around and wait. From time to time, they would ask for some information. After all, even if they could not enter, they would have something to brag about in the future. Chapter 36:17. Young Master, let's go together. Xiaoyu looked at Lin Xian and smiled. For some reason, she felt that Lin Xian's aura made her feel comfortable. She couldn't explain it. Maybe it was because of the Tao of heaven and earth. Lin Xian cultivated the 5 elements law and had the yin-yang image. These were the most original powers of heaven and earth. Therefore, he could make people feel at ease. Perhaps even he didn't realize it. Seeing this, Hua Yuke laughed coldly. He did not say anything and continued walking forward. This Xiaoyu was too naive. How could a poor man like him be qualified to enter? The group of people walked forward. Hua Yuke took out his invitation card. After the guard checked, he smiled and said, "So it's the young master of the flower tribe. Please come in." Hua Yuke nodded and was satisfied. He said, "This is the little princess of the Jiang tribe. She came with me." "So it's Fairy Jiang. Please come in," the guard said respectfully again. Hua Yuke said, "Oh right, the kid behind us is not with us. You have to check carefully." This was a small martial arts competition. Not just any Tom, Dick, or Harry could enter. Hearing this, the guard's eyes lit up and he stared at Lin Xian. The two of them crossed swords and blocked the way. "Young master, do you have an invitation?" When Jiang Xiaoyu saw this, she quickly said, "Why don't we bring this young master in too? Anyway, you have an invitation, right? Bring him in." Hua Yuke smiled in disdain. "What a joke." Lin Xian said, "No need. I have my own invitation." He took out his invitation and passed it to the guard. "He has won." Hua Yuke was stunned. He then laughed coldly. "Look carefully. Don't let anyone fake it." The others were also whispering to each other. The guard carefully checked the invitation card 3 times and found that it was real. He said respectfully, "Young master, there was a misunderstanding. I hope you don't blame me." After all, those who could have love invitations were either rich or respectable. They all had frightening backgrounds. These guards did not dare to offend them easily. How could it be? Did you see it clearly? Is the invitation real? Hua Yuke could not believe what he was seeing. How could this poor and destitute brat have an invitation? One had to know that this was a small martial arts gathering. Experts from families from many worlds had gathered. Ordinary families were not qualified to enter at all. Which clan was this kid from? Young Master Hua, this invitation card is real. We can be sure of that. After that, they looked towards Lin Xian. They did not know his name. Lin Wudi. Lin Xian wrote down his name on the list of flowers in a carefree manner. When this name came out, quite a few people turned their heads one after another. Daring to call himself unrivaled. Who was this? Wasn't this too arrogant? This fellow's cultivation? Holy shit, he's only a second heaven sage. A second heaven sage dared to call himself invincible. Where did his confidence come from? Whispers could be heard all around. Hua Yuke sneered again. What an ignorant brat. He didn't pay any more attention to it. In his opinion, even if the other party had an invitation, it was probably stolen from somewhere. As for the name Lin Wudi, he was even more disdainful. Perhaps it just meant invincible king. This brat probably became a sage by chance. The others were also discussing. They did not think that a second heaven sage dared to call himself invincible. Lin Xian did not care about these people's discussions. He wanted to walk the path of martial arts. How could these ordinary people know about it? Boom boom boom. The heavens and the earth rumbled. A ray of light descended from the sky, attracting the attention of everyone. Gasps could be heard. Heavens, how could this be? Someone actually flew here? That was too unbelievable. That's right, who was he? How could he fly? Wasn't it forbidden to fly here? These people were all stunned. They had to stop when they were 10,000 miles away. They could only ride on chariots. But now someone actually flew over. Was this a provocation? Boom. The ray of light had already descended. The mountains collapsed and the earth cracked. Everyone's blood boiled. Someone fell to the ground and spat out blood. What a terrifying power. Who was this person? Even Hua Wuke, Jiang Xiaoyu, and the others were swaying. Lin Xian could feel a tremendous power coming toward him. However, he slightly urged his god body to counteract that power. However, he was also surprised. This power was indeed shocking. Who was it? He turned his head and looked. In the distance, a very tall man walked over. He was about 5 meters tall, and his body was bronze in color. There were terrifying engravings on his body. Was this a giant? Lin Xian was shocked. The surrounding people exclaimed. It was the Stone Tribe's genius. The Stone Clan was an extremely terrifying clan. Their strength was boundless, and their defense was astonishing. Their name resounded throughout the heavens. The guards were also stunned. Who dared to fly here? They did not expect that someone would dare to break the rules. So what if you are strong? In front, the Stone Tribe's expert said coldly. I am Sherbufan. Sherbufan. When these words came out, the surrounding people were stunned. Heavens, he was Sherbufan. These people did not dare to believe that Sherbufan was one of the 8 geniuses. As expected, the guards were also stunned. So it was young Master Sher who had arrived. We had eyes but failed to see. Please forgive us, young Master Sher. They did not dare to pursue the matter of flying in the air. Sher Bufan's identity was frighteningly high. At the same time, a guard took up a horn and blew it. At the same time, another person shouted to the sky. Sher Bufan, one of the 8 geniuses, has arrived. Inside the Broken Cloud Mountain, 8 beautiful women suddenly walked out. Each of them was holding flowers, and those were all rare spirit flowers. At this moment, the petals danced in the air. All sorts of heaven and earth techniques intertwined. These people invited Sherbufan in with the highest treatment. These were the 8 geniuses? They were too strong. Yes, they were completely different from us. Those who had love cards could only look up to the sky and sigh. They could only be checked by the guards and then let in. However, Sherbufan descended from the sky and was invited in respectfully. The gap between them was simply too great. Even the prideful Hua Yuke had to retract his pride in front of Sherbufan. Instead, his face was filled with envy. Only Lin Xian was calm. Although Sherbufan was strong, he was extremely confident in himself. He believed that given time, he would soar into the sky. In fact, it would not be long before his name was known throughout the world. In the Broken Cloud Mountain, there were pavilions and buildings. The birds were chirping and the flowers were fragrant. It was a celestial scene. In the midst of the crowd, a voice rang out. Shirbufan, one of the 8 geniuses, has arrived. This voice caused the entire cloud segment mountain to seethe with excitement. Was it the 8 geniuses? Heavens, it was Shirbufan. He was ranked 3rd among the 8 geniuses. They did not expect him to come this time. Chapter 36:18. These people were too excited. Shirbufan was one of the most popular candidates for the Wuxia City assessment. Countless beautiful girls screamed, looking as if they wanted to jump into Shirbufan's arms. In a mountain range, a man stood with his hands clasped behind his back in a pavilion that seemed to be made of celestial jade. His eyes were glowing as he looked into the distance. There were a few people beside him. One of them laughed. Shirbufan's reputation is really great. Look at those girls. This scene is even more spectacular than when you came. Another person laughed. The others also looked at the person standing at the front. Standing at the front was a man in golden silk robes. His expression was cold and his eyes were bright. The light in his eyes was like a star array, shining with a strange light. This person was called Shui Tianqin. He was extremely powerful and was one of the 8 great sky prides. It's nothing. These are all fleeting clouds. Only strength is the real deal. Shui Tianqin said indifferently. He did not seem to care about the spectacular scene below. I think the person who made the golden distinction board must have a problem with his eyes. How could he rank you lower than Shirbufan? The voice was ice cold, but there was a hint of coquettishness in it. It came from a woman. The girl was wearing a blue robe. Even her hair was blue. She was emitting a cold aura. If she was from the Ice Goddess Class 1, her name was Wang Xiaofeng, the Icely clan's genius. She was also one of the 8 great sky prides. She looked at the man in the golden robe with admiration in her eyes. In her heart, no one could be compared to Shui Tianqin. Shui Tianqin turned around and looked at Wang Xiaofeng with a smile. You can't say that. Shirbufan is indeed unique. He is from the Stone Clan and his defense is strong. Moreover, he has the rare demon rock body. Not many people are his match. I have never fought with him before. So it's hard to say who will win. Shui Tianqin was not afraid of Shirbufan at all. However, there was a cold light in his eyes. But if we really fight, I am confident that I can defeat him. Furthermore, I only have one enemy in the Wuxia City assessment, and that is Di Ling. When he said that, the light in his eyes became even more dazzling. It seemed like Shui Tianqin was extremely conceited. Di Ling was his only opponent. Imperial Mausoleum? At the mention of this name, the others also frowned slightly, because this person was also incomparably terrifying. He was a legend and his strength and reputation were above Shirbufan's. What was the origin of this Imperial Mausoleum? I still haven't figured it out. One of them shook his head. Another person said. It was said that he came from the first astral realm, but no one knew if that was true or not. Wang Xiaofeng said that he was indeed from the first astral realm. It was hard to imagine that the first astral realm could produce such a legendary figure. Moreover, he was chosen by the spirit sealing star. The reason why he was so powerful and was chosen by the spirit sealing star was because he had the legendary sky burial body. Shui Tianqin said. The others were confused. What's the celestial star body? Why haven't I heard of it? Yes, even Wang Xiaofeng had a puzzled look on her face. It was a very rare body constitution. Moreover, it was a double-edged sword. The so-called sky burial body, you can see it as a very suitable graveyard for burying people. What? Everyone gasped. Burial ground? Are you saying that the Imperial Mausoleum itself is a burial ground? That's unbelievable. However, Shui Tianqin said that there's nothing unbelievable about it. Haven't you heard that there's a strange coffin inside Di Ling's body? That means that he has the sky burial body. The moment these words came out, the few of them sucked in a breath of cold air. They were all top-notch geniuses with extraordinary backgrounds. They had studied Di Ling's mausoleum countless times. Therefore, they knew that there was a strange coffin inside Di Ling's body. When that coffin came out, Di Ling's combat strength would undergo an earth-shattering change. Moreover, the thing inside the coffin could also attack people. It was said that Di Ling had shown it in the heaven-reaching tower. Damn it, he actually has such a body constitution. Then wouldn't he be invincible? Someone exclaimed. During the battle in the heaven-reaching tower, it was said that Di Ling could even fight against a minor saint. Although he has the sky burial body, it's impossible for him to use the coffin without limit. His body wouldn't be able to withstand it. Therefore, there's no need to worry. Shui Tianchen said again. Moreover, Wuxia City wouldn't allow Di Ling to use such a thing in the assessment. Moreover, who doesn't have a trump card? He harumphed coldly after saying that. The other's eyes flickered. That being said, Di Ling's mausoleum was really terrifying. No one knew when the coffin in his body would explode. Brother Shui, how confident are you in defeating Di Ling's mausoleum? Wang Xiaofeng asked. The others also pricked up their ears. They wanted to know too. Shui Tianchen shook his head. It's hard to say. If my Shui technique can subdue Di Ling, then I'm 100% confident. But if I make a mistake and Di Ling is on guard, then I'm afraid he'll be in trouble. But I've been practicing that technique recently. If I can master that technique, then defeating Di Ling won't be a problem. Could it be that technique? Wang Xiaofeng exclaimed. Shui Tianchen's lips curled up. That's right. It's that technique. I've almost mastered it. I hope I can master it before Wuxia City's assessment. Then I'll be more confident. The palace was filled with shock. On the other side, Lin Xian and the others walked into the broken Cloud Mountain range. Screams and shouts were still echoing in their ears. Of course they were not for them, nor were they for Huayuke. It was for sure Bufan. From this, one could see how famous the 8 great sky prides were. Lin Xian heard many people whispering along the way. This time, they had invited many geniuses, including a few of the 8 great sky prides. I wonder if Di Ling will come. Lin Xian was looking forward to it. But after listening for a while, he didn't think Di Ling would come. He was disappointed. To be honest, he was quite interested in Di Ling's mausoleum, especially the coffin in his body. But it seemed like he could only meet Di Ling at Wuxia City's assessment. Jiang Xiaoyu seemed to be very friendly towards Lin Xian. This made Huayuke very unhappy. Just as he was about to say something, his body suddenly trembled. It seemed like something was missing from his soul. When he tried to sense it, he couldn't find it. Chapter 36:19. Jiang Xiaoyu, who was at the side, was also puzzled, but she could not find anything. The others exclaimed, but the feeling disappeared in an instant. Lin Xian frowned slightly. A trace of golden light flashed in his eyes and circled around him. Soon he locked onto a mountain range. On the mountain range, there was a pavilion that looked like a heavenly palace. The gaze just now came from there. It seemed that there was an expert looking at them. An eye technique expert. Interesting. Lin Xian was interested. Although they had entered Broken Cloud Mountain, there were still 3 days before the real enlightenment session began. Everyone used this time to start making friends and asking around. Lin Xian found a place and sat down. He was ready to spend these 3 days in enlightenment. However, on the second day, the surroundings suddenly became lively. It turned out that there were 8 geniuses nearby, and they were extremely terrifying eye technique geniuses. Shui Tianchen. Shui Tianchen was a very powerful genius, ranked 4th among the geniuses. Of course, there were also people who said that Shui Tianchen was definitely in the top 3, but he had been hiding his strength. After all, his eye technique was extremely strange. It could injure the soul and kill instantly. His appearance was no less lively than Bufan's. Countless people followed him. There was a place called Luotian Mountain Stream in front. It was very strange and contained the will of heaven and earth, allowing people to comprehend heaven and earth there. Everyone walked forward. It turned out that this was a very suitable place for cultivation, but ordinary people didn't know about it. Shui Tianchen had a strange eye technique that could discover such a good place. The surrounding people were amazed. As expected of a terrifying eye technique genius, they didn't know that there was such a good place in Broken Cloud Mountain. These people followed one after another, wanting to see what the Luotian mountain stream was like. However, when they came close, they found that there was someone nearby. There was a young man sitting cross-legged there, seemingly cultivating. Someone had actually beaten him to it? How could it be? Could it be that someone had discovered the wonders of this place? Many people were surprised. However, there were also people who sneered. How could it be? In the entire Yunduan mountain, other than Shui, who else could discover the wonders of this place? One had to know that not many people knew about the Luotian mountain stream. The great Tao of heaven and earth contained in it was not so easy to comprehend. Otherwise, this place would have been occupied by countless people. Hearing this, everyone nodded. Since they were able to come here, their status, talent, and strength were all extraordinary. However, they had never heard of it before. If it weren't for the fact that Water Sky City had brought them here, they would have never heard of it. Even if they were beaten to death, they wouldn't have known that there was such a good place. Who is this guy? Should I tell him to scram? His cultivation doesn't seem to be much. How can such a good place be occupied by an ant like him? Someone sneered. Gongzi Stillwater, do you need us to help you? Someone dared to occupy the place that young Master Shui fancied. Wasn't that courting death? No need, just tell him and let him take the initiative to leave. I don't think he will refuse. Shui Tiancheng said indifferently. The others all agreed. Brother Shui was indeed magnanimous. With young Master Shijui's magnanimity, how could he lower himself to the level of these people? The group of people quickly walked forward. Soon they arrived in front of the Luotian mountain stream. At this moment, someone in the crowd exclaimed. It was him. The person who exclaimed was Jiang Xiaoyu. She naturally came to see Water Sky City. After all, the 8 great geniuses were all admired. However, she didn't expect to meet Lin Xian here. Beside her, Hua Yuke was also there. When he saw Lin Xian sitting cross-legged there, he immediately sneered. This guy was really courting death. He actually dared to occupy the place that Water Sky City fancied. Someone beside him snorted coldly. It was like thunder exploding between heaven and earth. Lin Xian opened his eyes and furrowed his brows. Who was disturbing his cultivation? He turned his head and looked into the distance. His eyes flashed with a trace of light. There were actually so many people here. He glanced around and found Jiang Xiaoyu and Hua Wuk in the crowd. However, the two of them weren't the main characters. The one who made people's eyes shine was a man standing in the center. His figure was slender and his face was expressionless. His eyes were like the vast stars, incomparably deep. When Lin Xian saw the other party's eyes, his soul shook and he revealed a trace of surprise. It was him. Previously, it was this person who used his soul to investigate them. It seemed that this was the eye technique expert. Why are you here? Lin Xian asked coldly. Kid, this is Water Sky City, one of the 8 great geniuses. Now he wants to come to the Luotian mountain stream to comprehend. Hurry up and leave. This isn't a place for you to stay. You'd better leave. Otherwise, you'll make a mistake. Another person said coldly. Luotian mountain stream wants to comprehend here? Lin Xian frowned. Were they trying to snatch his place? He laughed. Why did they have to choose this place? What do you know? This place is extraordinary. Only our young Master Water can discover the mysteries of this place. If it's occupied by someone like you, it'll only be a waste. Those who spoke had thick arrogance and disdain in their eyes. It was obvious that they were Water Sky City's followers. Just now they had already investigated Lin Xian's cultivation. An early second heavenly layer sage was not worth mentioning in their eyes. Not to mention Shui Heaven City. You want me to leave? It's not impossible. But is this the attitude to negotiate? Lin Xian sneered. Little treasure, what do you mean? You don't want to leave, or you want to take advantage of the situation? Could it be that you want us to beg you? The other people's faces darkened. However, Water Sky City waved his hand, not letting them continue to say anything. Now that everyone was watching, he couldn't appear to be too bullying. After all, as one of the 8 great geniuses, what he wanted was reputation. So he walked out and said indifferently, Brother, I really need this place. Can you make it convenient for me? In addition, the peak of Lin Yun's Broken Mountain is not bad. You can cultivate there. This place? It's not impossible to give it to you. Lin Xian said indifferently. Hearing this, everyone was expressionless. In their opinion, No one dared to compete with Shursui Heaven City. In the crowd, Xiaoyu heaved a sigh of relief. Great, she was really afraid that Lin Xian would have a conflict with the other party. Very good. The corner of Water Sky City's mouth raised into a smile, but in the next moment he was stunned. Because Lin Xian continued to say, I heard that you are one of the 8 great geniuses. Why don't you have a match with me? If you win, I will give this place to you. What? These words were like a sudden clap of thunder, causing everyone around to be stunned. What did he say? He wanted to spar with Water Sky City? God, this kid's brain must be flooded with water. Many people looked at Lin Xian, as if they were looking at an idiot. Did he know what the 8 great geniuses represented? Immediately some followers disdained. Kid, who do you think you are? Are you worthy of sparring with our young master Shursui? That's right, the early stage of the second heaven is like an ant in front of us. Which ignorant boy did you come from? Hurry up and leave lest you get killed. These people looked impatient, and even Water Sky City's face darkened. He wanted to fight with an early stage second heaven saint? What a joke. He wasn't interested at all. Chapter 36:20. Jiang Xiaoyu was also shocked. Heavens, the thing she didn't want to see the most had really happened. This young Master Lin was really, she didn't know what to say. Beside her, Hua Yuke also sneered. What a reckless brat. His eyes were filled with schadenfreude. What was it, disdain or fear? Lin Xian asked again. Hearing this, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Damn, did this brat really want to fight? They thought that Lin Xian was just saying it to show off, but they didn't expect him to really want to fight. Aqua Sky City didn't say anything and directly ignored Lin Xian. His followers were furious. Courting death. At this time, someone walked out from the crowd. Everyone calm down. It's just a second heaven ant. Let me help you deal with it. The one who said this was a man with a pointy mouth and ape-like cheeks. However, he was also a second heaven saint, and his cultivation had reached the late stage of the second heaven. From the looks of it, he wasn't a follower. Instead, he was looking for an opportunity to latch onto Pillar Water Sky City's thigh and join the group of followers. That's good too. The followers of Aqua Sky City nodded. They didn't want to fight. Even though they were followers, they were still proud geniuses of their own regions. Now that a second heaven person had taken the initiative to help them, it was the best thing for them. Brat, I'll give you a chance. Hurry up and kowtow to young Master Shursui and apologize, then leave quickly. Otherwise, when I attack, your end will be very miserable. The man with a pointy mouth and ape-like cheeks walked out with a cold smile. Lin Xian sat there cross-legged and glanced at him. You? There was a trace of disdain in his expression. To be honest, he wasn't interested in a second heaven late-stage cultivator. Courting death. The man with a pointy mouth and ape-like cheeks roared. The terrifying Tao of heaven and earth rumbled, and the entire sky trembled as if it was about to fall. The surrounding people's expressions also changed. It seemed that this guy was also a powerhouse. Since he dared to come out, he naturally had to be strong. The followers smiled with satisfaction. This person's strength was not bad. The others felt that it was a pity. Damn it, why didn't they think of such an opportunity to suck up to him? Thunder and lightning flashed in the sky, grabbing toward the front. It was a giant hand of thunder that wanted to envelop Lin Xian. Lin Xian was still sitting there cross-legged, motionless, allowing the thunder hand to descend. When the others saw this scene, they all sneered. This brat must have been scared silly. That's for sure. Can't you see that he can't even move? How dare they challenge Water Sky City? They really don't know what death is. Hua Yuke sneered. Let's see how you'll die. Jiang Xiaoyu, on the other hand, was extremely nervous. Young Master Lin quickly made a move. If he really couldn't do it, he could just admit his mistake. She was afraid that Lin Xian's life would be in danger. Lin Xian glanced at Uncle Thunder's hand above his head and coldly shouted, "Scram!" With a furious roar, it was as if 10,000 thunderbolts had exploded, and the huge hand of thunder was shattered. The man who attacked also seemed to have been struck by lightning. He suddenly vomited blood and was sent flying. Several large cracks appeared on his body, and even his internal organs could be seen. It was extremely shocking. How is this possible? The surrounding people screamed, and their eyes widened in disbelief. What did they see? The monkey-faced man was injured by a sound wave. This was too inconceivable. The followers were also stunned. This brat actually had such strength. In the crowd, Jiang Xiaoyu heaved a sigh of relief. This is great. Hua Yuke gritted her teeth. How is this possible? How could this brat defeat a late-stage second heavenly layer saint? Furthermore, he defeated him with a sound wave. Could it be that his strength had already entered the third heavenly layer saint? The surrounding onlookers were also whispering. It seemed that this was a genius. They didn't expect that they had misjudged him. Hee, what's the big deal? The followers sneered. Brat, I admit that you have some strength, but that's all. You can fight above your level. You are indeed a genius. Now I'll give you a chance. Apologize to our young master Shishui, and we'll allow you to become his follower. Hearing this, many people's eyes turned red. They looked at Lin Xian with envy. One had to know that not everyone could become a follower. One had to be a genius. Becoming a follower was the greatest honor. Let me become a follower? Does he have the qualifications? Lin Xian shook his head. These people were really short-sighted. They were actually willing to be a follower. You dare to look down on young Master Shishui? Some of the followers couldn't stand it anymore. They didn't want to attack you, but you provoked us again and again. It seemed that they had to teach you a lesson. A mere second heavenly layer ant was provoking them. They couldn't tolerate it. Immediately, an extraordinarily mighty man in battle armor walked out. He raised his hand and shot out a sword chi. It directly rushed towards Lin Xian's forehead. The terrifying sword chi spread out in all directions, causing everyone to be frightened. This sage had the strength of a third heavenly layer. However, Lin Xian sneered. How could this be called sword chi? He stretched out a large golden hand and slapped forward. In an instant, he caught the terrifying sword chi and crushed it. Endless brilliance scattered on the ground. The man who attacked took 2 steps back and spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was full of disbelief. You. His whole body trembled, and he couldn't speak. Lin Xian was still sitting there, and said indifferently, You can't do it. Let your young master Shishui do it. The surrounding onlookers gasped and their eyes widened. Who was this person? This brat was actually so strong. Where did this freak come from? Who knew who he was? Now these people were very curious about Lin Xian's identity, because Lin Xian's performance was really too shocking. First, he injured a late second heavenly layer sage with a sound wave. Now he crushed the sword chi of a third heavenly layer sage with a single hand. All of this showed that the other party was extraordinary. Lin Xian didn't pay attention to the person who attacked. Instead, he looked at Shishui Sky City. What, you still don't want to make a move? Do you care so much about your reputation? Or do you not dare to stand? Lin Xian's eyes burst out with a biting cold light. Shishui Sky City frowned slightly, but still didn't make a move. The other party's performance was beyond his expectations. But in his opinion, that was all. The other party was not bad, but he still didn't take him seriously. If you want to fight with young Master Shishui, you have to get through me first. Another person walked out. This was a burly man. His body was emitting extremely terrifying flames, like a fire god. As soon as he walked out, he brought with him huge waves. Oh, defeating you will make that guy make a move? Are you sure? That's right, I am the third follower of young Master Shishui. If you defeat me, you will have the qualifications to challenge young Master Shishui. What? He was the third follower. It was the lava sage. Heavens, his strength was very terrifying. That was for sure. He was the third follower. There were very few people who could defeat him. Everyone was discussing animatedly. It was obvious that they were terrified of this fire godlike character. Chapter 36:21. The lava saint roared and spat out a terrifying flame that turned into a flame law that flew towards Lin Fan. He wanted to refine Lin Xian completely. This was the fire of 10,000 rivers, which could burn everything. Even a level 3 sage would die in it. The surrounding people retreated frantically, not daring to get close to it. However, Lin Xian did not move at all, allowing the flames to engulf him. Ha ha! The lava saint laughed out loud. You're just a mere ant, and you dare to go against us? The other followers also sneered, while the surrounding onlookers gasped in shock. Was it going to end like this? The difference was too great. That was natural. After all, he was the third follower. How could that kid fight against him? Young Master Lin. Jiang Xiaoyu was so nervous that her face turned pale. Hua Yuke snorted coldly. What a fool. In front of them in the flames the law spread, but at this moment a voice sounded. It was a comfortable feeling. The power of your flames was not bad, but it would not affect me much. Don't you have any more powerful flames? Everyone was stunned when they heard the voice. Young Master Lin was not dead. Jiang Xiaoyu exclaimed. How was that possible? Hua Yuke's eyes almost popped out. The expressions of the followers changed drastically. How was it possible that Yi Futian was still alive? One had to know that the lava saint was the third follower. Apart from the 8 supreme geniuses, only the other 2 followers dared to fight against the flames of Rongjiang. The other followers did not dare to fight back at all. How could such a terrifying flame not burn Lin Fan to death? Damn it, I don't believe it. The giant of Rongjiang roared, and the law surrounded his body. Terrifying flames filled the sky. He immediately struck out a powerful blow. A streak of fiery red divine thought flew out like a bolt of lightning. Boom. The law of fire in front of him was even more terrifying. This time, Lin Fan's soul should be destroyed. The lava saint thought so, and so did the others. Haha, that's not enough. Lin Xian laughed and sucked hard. The flames of the 9 heavens and 10 earths turned into a torrent, and were sucked into his mouth. In an instant, the terrifying flames in front of him completely disappeared. Lin Xian was still standing there, without the slightest injury. There wasn't even a speck of dust on him. Those people trembled and stuttered. They were unable to describe their current feelings. What did they see? Damn it, is this kid a monster? Such a terrifying flame was actually eaten by the other party. Not only that, there were no injuries on his body. What kind of physique was this? Was he wearing a saint artifact armor? How could this be? The molten lava saint also shrieked, revealing an extremely terrified expression. What was going on with the other party? Damn it, this kid is too strange. Now have a taste of my flames. Lin Xian opened his mouth and spat out a terrifying golden flame. This is the 9-yang divine flame. As soon as it appeared, it burned fiercely in the sky like the sun. It emitted a scorching light. This flame scared everyone out of their wits, and they almost knelt on the ground. They kept retreating, and the lava saint's expression changed drastically. Block it for me. The flame laws on his body were even more monstrous, but in an instant he screamed in pain. After being enveloped by the golden flame, his skin was burnt and his flesh was torn apart. He screamed continuously. He broke through the void and completely escaped from the sea of flames. Only then did he preserve his life. The lava saint was incomparably miserable at this moment. His body was charred black, and there were cracks and blood everywhere. There was a burning smell. He looked extremely miserable. The surroundings were completely silent. They were truly stunned. This scene was completely different from what they had imagined. Jiang Xiaoyu was excited. This is great. Young Master Lin is actually so powerful. Hua Yuke's hand that was holding the fan trembled. Monster, this is a monster. Previously, he was still disdainful of Lin Xian, thinking that Lin Xian was courting death. But now he was terrified. The reason for that was because the power that Lin Xian had displayed was simply too powerful. He actually defeated the third follower. One had to know that he was no match for the third follower at all. In other words, the other party's strength surpassed his. How could he not be terrified in the face of an expert? Damn it, those followers' faces were also incomparably ugly. Why did they meet such a ruthless person today? Damn it, who the hell are you? Rongjiang giant gritted his teeth and asked. Today he had really lost all his face. Lin Xian finally stood up. He stood with his hands behind his back and said in a deep voice, I am Lin Wudi. It's not embarrassing for you to lose to me. Lin Wudi. Everyone's heart trembled fiercely. This guy actually dared to call himself invincible. Wasn't he too arrogant? Yes, the 8 great geniuses did not dare to call themselves invincible. Even Aqua Sky City did not dare to call themselves invincible. But now, an unfamiliar young man actually dared to call himself invincible. Where did his confidence come from? You dare to call yourself invincible? I'll fight you. The first follower could not hold it in anymore and walked out. However, at this moment, Aqua Sky City did indeed speak. You guys can leave. I'll deal with this kid personally. What? Everyone was stunned. Aqua Sky City was going to do it personally? Heavens, this was too unbelievable. Aqua Sky City was one of the 8 great geniuses, and he was ranked 4th. It was said that he could even be ranked in the top. How terrifying was a genius like him? Lin Wudy, right? You're not bad. You actually defeated my follower. You're worthy of me taking action. Aqua Sky City said indifferently. However, you're too arrogant. You don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. You can't call yourself invincible. So, change your name as soon as possible. Otherwise, you won't know when you'll die in the wilderness. You're wrong. Lin Xian's expression was also serious. Invincible is not my name, but my title. My heart is invincible. It's not something you can imagine. Lin Xian's body was very light at this moment, and he was incomparably serious. For some reason, everyone had an illusion at this moment. It was as if they were not facing a second heaven sage, but a supreme emperor. The invincible aura of the other party suppressed them to the point that they almost couldn't breathe. Hua Yuke felt that his pants were wet. He was about to pee his pants. Jiang Xiaoyu, who was beside him, had a look of infatuation. This was a true powerhouse, a peerless hero. A title. Aqua Sky City's face sank. He naturally knew what the other party meant. If the other party's name was Lin Wudy, then it could only be said that the other party's parents and elders wished for him to be invincible. However, if it was a title, then it was completely different. It meant that the other party gave it to himself. The other party wanted to walk the path of invincibility. What a joke. He didn't even dare to walk this path. How could the other party, who was in a lower realm than him, chase him away? Aqua Sky City felt humiliated and humiliated. I'll let you know that not everyone deserves to be invincible. Today you've made a fatal mistake. Aqua Sky City's expression was incomparably cold. Make your move. You only have one chance. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.